I'm Steph Weezy, and today we are joined by Birthright player from the mid lane, Danny. What do you believe has been Birthright's biggest challenge so far competing in MLBB?
My team's biggest challenge was playing against a team called Fireflux. And yes, we have to play against them in a tournament. And that was our biggest challenge for now.
Now, they switched to Incendio Supremacy, but yes, they are here in the challenge season. And what would you say are some key lessons that you guys have learned from these past experiences that'll help you in this upcoming challenge season?
Constant working, also to have a good mentality and trusting each other.
I like it. Those are definitely things for a recipe for success. And what can the fans expect from Birthright on your journey in the challenge season?
I think they can expect everything. We don't have many tournaments to participate. Snapdragon is a very good opportunity, and we have already participated in the last season. We ended in the top 3 teams, so I think they can expect this time something similar.
And as a final question, what message would you like to give to the teams you're competing against?
I want to tell them that they should try their best and give good matches so everyone is very entertained.
I like it. So that's some good sportsmanship. Well, Danny, good luck to you in Birthright, and we look forward to seeing you in the challenge season.
Merhabalar, yanımda şimdi Beşiktaş eSports'tan Çapo var. Çapo hoş geldin, nasılsın?
Hoş bulduk, iyiyim, teşekkürler. Siz nasılsınız?
Ben de iyiyim, bizler de iyiyiz. Teşekkür ederiz. Öncelikle yeni rolün hayırlı olsun diyelim.
Teşekkür ediyorum.
Bilmeyenler için söyleyeyim, Çapo artık Beşiktaş eSports'un altın koridor nişancısı olarak boy gösterecek sahnelerde. Şimdi seninle bir oyun oynayacağız. Birazdan bazı sesler duyacaksın ve o seslerden kahraman tahmin edeceksin. Başlayalım mı?
Başlayabiliriz.
Çek bir kahraman yetişti.
Tigreal falan mı ya? Gerçekten mi?
Tek attın hocam. Vallahi tek attın, helal olsun. 1'de 1.
Yine olabilir bu. Valir de olabilir. Onun dışında şu an aklıma bir böyle...
Aslında biraz böyle bir ufak ipucu vermeye çalıştım. Kaja'ydı. Hani böyle fıs diye açılıp...
hiç. Bayağıdır oynanmıyor hiç
Bir sonrakine geçelim.
Bu bayağı böyle bir kötü ses tonunda var ya. Argus olabilir mi bu ya? Şu an hiç çağrıştırmadı bana.
Tanıdık ama.
Şu an düşünüyorum da işte sessiz oynayan bir kişi için çok zor soru bunlar.
Bir şey salla o zaman.
Buna da yin diyeyim ya.
Yin.
Sanki yin çıkacak bugün böyle. Yin deyip duruyorum.
Faramisti. Bir sonrakine geçelim.
Sanki böyle bir elektroteknolojik bir hero gibi bir ses tonu var ama.
Aslında çok güzel yerden girdin. Oradan devam edebilirsin.
Oradan da hiç aklıma gelen bir kostüm hatta kahraman seslendirmesi gibi bir şey gelmiyor şu an ya. Böyle son kostümlerden olabileceklerden bir Fredrin olabilir belki diyeyim.
Bilmiyorum. Ben yeterince ipucu verdim.
Yok bu da çıkmadı.
Salla bir şey.
Yani en son Bamban dedik olmadı. Ne olabilir? Lilia diyelim ya buna da. Çünkü hiç gelmiyor aklıma şu an.
Saber'dı ama normal yani sesler açık olmadan 4'te 1 bence gayet iyi. Hani en azından bir kişiden başarılsın, onu söyleyeyim.
Evet, o zaman güzel, birinin önüne.
Teşekkür ederiz. Buraya gelip bize eşlik ettiğin için. Ağzına emeğine sağlık Çapo. Turnuvada sana başarılar, takıma başarılar diliyorum. Görüşmek üzere.
Görüşmek üzere, hoşçakalın.
Merhabalar. Şimdi yanımda Papara Supermassive'den Moji var. Orman oyuncuları. Onunla bir oyun oynayacağız. Hatta birden fazla oyun oynayacağız. Şimdi oyunlara geçelim yavaş yavaş. Moji hoş geldin bu arada.
Hoş buldum abi. İyiyim. Sen nasılsın?
Teşekkür ederim. Şimdi seninle bir oyun oynayacağız. Bir takım sesler duyacaksın. Bu seslerden hangi kahraman olduğunu bulacaksın, tahmin edeceksin. O zaman ilk ses gelsin.
Vale diyeceğim ama emin olmayaraktan.
Doğru. Valir geldi.
Doğru mu?
Pardon, Vale mi dedin sen?
Vale dedim abi. Valer'i demedim.
Ay ya, başka kahraman Vale dedi.
Valer'in W'suydu ya o zaman.
Avın kokusunu alıyorum.
Roger.
Doğanın gerçeklerinde gezinirken kendimi bulmayı umuyorum.
Change'in zaman yolcusu kostümü olabilir mi? Saber diyeceğim.
Moji gayet iyiydi ya. Ben beğendim performansını. 4'te 2 yaptın. Ne dersin?
Ya oyun seslerini kapalı oynadığım için benim için şeydi yani. Okey bir sonuçtu. Eğlenceli geçti. Bakalım. Ben teşekkür ederim. Görüşmek üzere. İyi seyirler.
Emeğine sağlık. Teşekkür ediyoruz sana. Welcome to So. Tiso is the gold owner of Elevate. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm very good.
So, we will play a game with you. You will hear some voices. Those might be, the heroes' recall effect or, a line, a sentence. So, you will guess the hero. We can start. Let's go.
Okay, sure.
Sacrifice everything for victory? Gladly.
That sounds Chinese, so maybe it's Kagura?
No, it's Gustion.
Okay,
Now we
Gusion.
can go
Okay.
next. Yeah. Let's go next.
Okay. Sure.
Watch out, Leo. Mother Universe needs you.
You must be familiar with this.
Sounds like some robotic kind of hero. Maybe Alpha. That sounds like a woman. I actually have no idea.
Is your
Maybe
answer
Irito.
Alpha?
Is it Irito? No, I think it's Irito. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Grats.
Okay.
Okay.
It was some-
Good one.
It was some skin, okay? Okay.
Yeah, good one. I thought you were familiar with this one since you play Goldane. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Interesting. That was just a slash. Maybe some type of fighter hero. Is it Alucard or Alpha?
You really love Alpha. Your answer for all questions is Alpha.
Yeah, I'll just guess Alpha. I'll just do it.
Alpha. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the new hero, so you must not
new
be
hero.
familiar with. Yeah,
So
Lucas.
it's probably Lucas, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
really-
good try.
that's
then,
why I
good try.
didn't know.
At least you figured out it was a fighter. That was a good one. Let's
Yeah.
go next.
Kind of sounds like an assassin. Is it maybe Amon?
Okay, that was Lunox.
Oh, it was Lunox.
Yeah.
It sounded like a male. That's why I thought it was like an assassin. Kind of cheeky.
Yeah, that was different. So, Tiso, thank you. That was a good one. You at least got Rital right. We wish you luck and success in the upcoming tournament. See you tomorrow then.
Thank you guys. See you tomorrow.
We are joined by Koba, the gold laner for Team Falcon. Today we got a game. Guess the hero. You think you have what it takes?
I think I'm ready enough. Let's go.
All right, let's go ahead and roll out the first one.
Everyone has a beast within.
I know that one, but I forgot.
You know it, but you forgot. Wait.
Like I heard it before, but I forgot. Of course I heard it. I've been playing this game for 6 years, and I still forgot.
Okay,
Everyone has
give me a
piece
guess.
with them. It's lost. Esmeralda. It's wrong. I know.
No, it's not Esme, but close, I guess. Masha.
Ooh.
You ready for the second one?
Yes, I'm ready.
I can squeeze in 25 hours of sleep into a day. How's that for efficiency?
That's Cyclops voice, right?
Cyclops? Is that what you said?
Yes.
It starts with a C, but it's Chip.
They both sound the same. How would I not?
They do kind of sound similar now that I think about it. All right, you're 0 for 2. Maybe you can even it out. All right, let's go ahead and roll on to the third one. Come on, I know you got this one.
Gas of enhanced auto attack.
No. Oh, look, it's in the mid lane.
What Amaze would do that like very strong voice. Like I can't find it in my mind.
Give me
I
a
can't go
guess.
it.
Give me a guess.
Aurora. I know it's wrong as well.
Nope, it's Eve, actually.
Ew. Oh my god.
You can see it now, huh? You probably know exactly what skill it is now.
Yeah,
All right,
like
we're moving on to the
first skill.
final one. One more shot. All right, if you get this one right, hey, you get them all right.
That's value, right?
Oh, actually, no. It's not a mid laner. This one's in the XP, and it's our lot.
This
He's
is
like,
the
wait a
first time I
second,
ever
these all
heard it.
sound the same.
Like this is the first time I hear it.
How do you feel? You think it was a lot more challenging than you expected?
Well, I guess I don't know my game. There is no gold laner, so it's not my fault.
Hey, there you go. Well, Koba, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck in the challenge season.
Thank you.
We are joined by Pagu from S2G, the roamer dominating in the scene. Today, we're going to play a little bit of a game. Pagu, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so let's guess the sound from in-game. You're going to have to let us know who you think it is or what you think it is. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first one now. Here we go.
Let them play the hero. I will be the truth this world desperately needs.
So I'm pretty sure this one is Yuzong, right?
Oh, right on the money. All right, 1 for 1. Let's move on to the second one.
I mean, that was very short. Let me just guess it's like Nana or something when it comes to
Oh,
the hero.
actually, it's Kagura. It's her umbrella shield. That one was a challenging one as well. All right, let's move on to the third.
Watch out, Leo. Mother Universe needs you.
Okay, this one is, I think, easy. It should be Irfil, right? Should literally say the pet name.
Do you know which skin it is?
I think this one is like the mechanical one. I'm not sure, like orange and silver one.
Oh man, he's right on the money. The Astral Wanderer. So I'll give you that one. All right, so you are 2 for 3 right now. Now we're moving on to the final one. All right, last shot. Let's go ahead and roll it.
So based on the sound I hear, it's usually like the I don't know, galaxy-based skins, like the space stuff. I could say maybe like Gusion and Legend skin. I have actually no idea, but I think that
Dude,
sounds
you got
like
it
good.
right. What is this? Oh man. Well, Pagu, thanks for joining us. And you're 3 out of 4 right there. With that luck, we look forward to seeing you in the challenge season.
Thank you.
Give it more, give it more, give it more right now, right now. Give it more, give it more, give it way more. Yeah, we give it all that we got. Measuring what's in our pockets, then we give it a lot. Cause we've been hustling for years, now we up at the top. And no, it's still not enough, so we ain't gonna stop. Cause that's full throttle, zoom, zoom, hop, skip, jump. About to eat it up, but the goal is lunch. I'm the big goose, so I never duck, duck. Just keep our head up and yeah, we going up, up, but don't call it good luck, luck. Earning what we got, cause all we do is give it more. Yeah, we going up, up, but don't call it good luck, luck. Earning what we got, cause all we do is give it more. Give it more, give it more, give it more right now, right now. Give it more, give it more, give it more, give it way more, way more. Give it all we got, we give it all we got. Oh yeah, give it more. Give it all you got. Now they know about our dedication. Not just hard work, it's also patience. Chipped away at it and ignored the hate. And now we big Tom status and it's us for the taking. We eat, dream about it every time we sleep. Making moves, just look at my feet. Yeah, we bring the heat. We make every situation sweet. Now all we need is yeah, we going up, up, but don't call it good luck, luck. Earning what we got, cause all we do is give it more. Yeah, we going up, up, but don't call it good luck, luck. Earning what we got, cause all we do is give it more. Give it more, give it more, give it more right now, right now. Give it more, give it more, give it more, give it way more, way more. Give it more. eyes on me. People picking up my energy. The music never stops. They play my song on repeat, on repeat. I'm flying till I hit the sky. The melody is getting high. You know how to free my mind, my mind. When I'm with you, my world is golden, so golden. Baby, you make my heart shine golden, so golden. Feeling so alive, let's dance through the night. Come on, raise a glass, we're electrified. When I'm with you, my world is golden, so golden. I'm flying till I hit the sky. The melody is getting high. You know how to free my mind, my mind.
Welcome to the 6th season of the Snapdragon Pro Series Mobile Legends Bang Bang. We've had an exciting season filled with dramatic upsets and exciting matches. And this will definitely be the case with this new season, where it starts off with the Mobile Open, where teams from APAC, LATAM, and EMEA will compete for their spot in the respective Regional Mobile Challenge. Winning teams will qualify for the Regional Mobile Challenge, where teams will have to go up against even better teams for their spot in the next and final phase, the Mobile Masters. Only the top 12 teams split across APAC, LATAM, EMEA, and China will qualify for this prestigious event. Which teams will represent their region and claim the title of being the best of Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and who will ultimately be crowned the champion of it all. It's a long but exciting road ahead, so stay tuned and follow us for the latest information and updates.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
After an intense weekend full of upsets and fierce competition, we're diving right back into the land of dawn for week 2 of the Snapdragon Pro Series MLBB EMEA and Turkey Challenge season. This is the final stretch where some of your favorite teams have one last chance to go big or go home. The hunger for redemption is real, the drive for victory unmatched, and only the best will have a chance at regional glory and global acclaim. I'm your host Liz, and you're watching the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Looks like the players are ready. Here we go!
Welcome everyone to day 3 of the Snapdragon Pro Series MLBB EMEA and Turkey Challenge season. Today we enter a high-stake gamble where only the region's best can fight to be in the race. I'm your host Liz, and I'm so glad to be back with our rush hour duo Yue and Steph Weezy. How are you guys doing?
Hey man, today's matches are going to be insane. Like you mentioned, an elimination match between some of the house favorites, and I can't wait to see which way this goes.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a tough day, bittersweet for people, especially when it comes down to elimination. So I hope these teams are ready for a good match today.
Yeah, so certainly for all the teams, we make sure that they're prepared. And for you guys at home, make sure you follow us on all our social medias at X, at Instagram, and at Facebook at ESL Mobile. That is ESL Mobile. Make sure you pay attention to ESL Mobile's page and make sure to join us on all our Discord channels for more information. That's Discord at Snapdragon Pro Series.
That's right, guys. Stay up to date with the latest and greatest. Hopefully today will be full of highlights. So far, the Snapdragon Pro Series Challenge Season 6, has yet to disappoint.
Yeah, and this is going to be quite a bit, Liz, for the format today.
Yeah, so for this tournament, we've been through the open qualifiers and open finals, and now we're in the challenge season in January. Now, the best teams will make it to the challenge finals, which will be held on February 8th to 9th, and they will qualify for Mobile Masters held in Indonesia, Jakarta, on April 7th to 13th. Now, 12 teams will qualify for the Mobile Masters from across all the regions, and there will be one home team from Jakarta.
Yeah, Mobile Masters, like we said, 12 teams ready to go the distance from 5 different overall regions, right? APAC, EMEA, LATAM, China, and also the home team. So I'm excited to see which way this goes, all the way in the heart of Indonesia as well, Jakarta. It's a great time for the Mobile Legends season and a great time for Snapdragon Pro Series.
Yeah, I think one of the more important things is there's only going to be 3 teams that do qualify from this region, right? It's still going to be the 3 teams that we send up. And they're going to have to compete against all the different regions out there. China, especially. I know Jakarta is going to have a team. It's probably the Liquid ID. But yeah, it's going to be a tough bracket for everyone.
Oh wow, Weezy already making his predictions. Liquid ID. I wonder what Onyx is feeling right now. But nonetheless, all the teams still have to go through open finals and right now the challenge season, so they have a long way to go. Now, Group 8 matches. Today we were supposed to see DK Esports versus S2G, as DK and S2G were dropped down to lower bracket in the last week's match. However, unfortunately, DK was not able to find a full roster today, so they unfortunately are out of the series.
Yeah, a little unfortunate for GK, but we will press on forward to Group B. Still the same format, double elimination. You've seen Incendio Supremacy and Falcons over there in the upper bracket qualified for the challenge finals, but on the lower bracket, that's the story for today in the best of 5 between Elevate and Besiktas Esports.
Yeah, and these are 2 teams fighting for their survival, right? They really have to win here or else they get eliminated. This is the lower brackets. So it's unfortunate to see one of these guys leave, but it just shows you how important this match is coming up today.
Yeah, and today we jump straight into the Group B lower bracket match. Casters, let's dive into the action.
Yeah, as we dive into the actions, like we said, GK won't be here, but Elevate and Besiktas Esports will be the 2 teams that we focus on today for the best of 5 elimination match for Group B. Now, let's just take a little bit of a moment to talk about these teams, right? Besiktas Esports, a little bit newer on the scene, at least for me as a caster. Definitely want to see what they bring to the table. They've yet to disappoint in the Pro Series so far, but Elevate also rising to dominance. Both of these teams show a lot of potential.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell which one of these teams are actually going to follow through, right? Anything could happen here in a best of 5 elimination match. And honestly, they both played against powerhouses from their respective region, right? There's Team Falcon, which did sweep Besiktas, and then Incendio Supremacy, which, formerly known as Fireflux, they went 3-1 against Elevate. Both teams had good results. It was hard for either of these teams to take these losses, but again, those are powerhouses. These guys were the ones that are like kind of pressed on to win these tournaments. So, this is going to be a tough match.
Yeah, definitely going to be one for the books. I mean, when you're looking at Elevate, right, they're out of the Europe region. When you're looking at Besiktas Esports, straight out of Turkey. So we're going to have different regions competing again here in the challenge season to try and raise that banner high. I love how you kind of mentioned some of the past that we've seen so far with the Incendio Supremacy up against Elevate, 3-1, right? We're talking about Incendio Supremacy. It's a team that has a lot of synergy. Some of the longest synergy that we've seen in the competitive scene and overall, globally, for Mobile Legends, and for Elevate to be able to find a victory off of them showcases a lot of potential. But then for Besiktas Esports, right, not the same story. They were not able to find that victory over Falcons, who is another household name, but a little bit of some new additions on their team had a little bit of a struggle. So hopefully today we can see a little bit more of the blended competition. Normally you kind of see that as you jump into an elimination state on the lower side.
Yeah, and I really think it comes down to some of the drafts that these teams have prepared. When I've been casting for the EU and MENA region, I always liked how they prepared their drafts, right? You see a lot of different elements that come out. And I know especially in the last season, the Khalid was kind of picked in that roam position quite a bit. But this time around, there's been a heavy emphasis on the Badang pick. I know you and me, we casted last week, very last match. Badang was pretty much prio or pick or ban for either one of these teams. I'm expecting kind of the same enthusiasm on this Badang pick, but I also feel like there's a lot of other picks that can, be prioritized early on in the draft.
You're asking all these questions. I had to turn into the Slender Man to extend a little bit higher up so I can see. As you are going to be looking at this bans on the bot side, though, the Eve taken off the board. This is a little interesting to do this early, especially when I wouldn't say it's been as heavily prioed in today's meta, right? I mean, I would say the Zushin, not too much of a surprise, but the Eve has definitely got me scratching my head. It almost makes me think it's a little bit of a target ban onto the side of Besiktas Esports, potentially for Ayaya.
Yeah, Eve has definitely shown its worthiness, and I feel like a Eve first ban just kind of sets up that Zushin prio, which, for the side of Besiktas, they've denied it correctly, right? So now both mages are off the board. Elevate goes with the Hilda ban, and this is interesting because Hilda hasn't had the best performance in a lot of the series for Snapdragon Pro Series. However, Hilda is still extremely impactful. Picked quite high, 50-60% pick or ban rates. This is still a hero that we have to watch out for. It's just that it's just not winning that many games.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes me feel like Elevate's going to be running the assassin route, right? Maybe going in for this Hayabusa type play style could be a game plan. We also got to pay credit to the Joy, right? One of the more dominant junglers in today's meta, still available, walking on the table, and normally we get to see this prioritized in the first half of the draft, especially for blue side if they do want to go in for that. You can't keep in mind though the marksmans are still on the table. We do know the Granger has been very effective. It's been first picked in a lot of these games so far for the challenge season. It could be an option for Elevate. Do they allow this jungler option to go to Besiktas Esports first if they go for the Granger? But if they do, it could be a little bit of a challenge, especially because if Elevate decides not to go in for the assassin in the jungle on first pick, they already took out the Hilda.
Yeah, you talked about the Granger. They come in with the Harith ban. This just sets Elevate up for that prio first pick on the marksman. It's kind of obvious how Elevate is really trying to decide in this draft what heroes that they're looking to pick, right? They ban out the Eve looking for a Zushin prio. If Zushin is not available, they're looking for the Granger. And this is kind of where Besiktas have the ability to, decide. They take out the Granger. I'm expecting a Suyu first pick, right? This hero has had a really high win rate and performance in all of the regions across the board. It's still good, even though Joy is that direct counter. Suyu is still extremely strong. Fast rotations in the jungle has the impact early on, but no, they actually skip over it. Goes for Matilda first pick.
Yeah, they go for the Matilda. Now, I mean, I don't think it's the worst decision. I feel it's safe. I mean, it's going to be put in the roam position though, so they are showing their cards a little early, but nonetheless, they have sustainability on their side. I'm expecting a Phoveus to possibly walk out for the side of Elevate as we swing back to them on the blue side after the 2-pick swing. But for Besiktas Esports, they now have jungle prow, right? They can go for this Joy, they can go for this Hayabusa. It's really up to them. They can pick their marksman as well, right? I mean, the Granger and the Harith are off the table, but there's still some additional picks that can be slotted in there, but they go for the wombo combo. Not only do they take Joy, but they take the Suyo as well.
Yeah, this is something we have seen before one time. Yes, it was Besiktas against Team Falcon. They picked the Joy up in the mid lane. So this is something that we've actually seen before. Ayaya does a great job with the Joy, especially early on, to pop a lot of the utilities to make sure that they, don't have the opportunity to have a flicker or something like that in the turtle pit on the very first objective. So this is not extremely of a surprise. It's just extremely aggressive on the side of Besiktas to be able to take both of those junglers early on.
I love how you kind of mentioned that, right? This looks like the Besiktas esports special. I mean, they have done it before against Team Falcons in game 1 of Group B on their debut, and it did not perform the way they were looking into it, right? It was that an 11-minute game, and it was wraps for Team Falcons to be able to shut them down. So hopefully they went to the drawing board and maybe found out a little bit of a different strategy as they jump into their debut for today up against Elevate. But there goes that Phoveus that we were talking about, Run, right? The reason why they picked the Phoveus is because he's great for the damage. The only thing that he lacks is the mobility. But when you pair it up with the Mathilda, you have the Guiding Winds, you're able to go back to safety. So now you have a little bit more of insurance to be aggressive and get the damage necessary on the enemy team. Then they pair it up with the Valentina. Now, do we think the Valentina was a little premature?
Valentina, especially with the results that did come in last week, I feel like Valentina is still one of the best mages. Has a pretty decent win rate and can go head to head with almost anyone, especially in this case with a Valentina versus Joy, right? Joy's trying to get onto you with the dashes. Valentina has 2 built in. He's gonna feel much safer, especially compared to something like an Aurora, a Vexana, or even a Farsa. Now, interesting here, with the Phoveus blind pick, it does set up for something like a CC if Besiktas wants a winning matchup, or even the Hylos. So there's option in the XP. I know for a fact Besiktas, with the Joy and the Soyu, is looking to deny some of the junglers. It seems like they're welcoming a Hayabusa, which I actually feel like is going to be a mistake. I think the Fredrin is something that's just a little bit worse, but maybe they want the Hayabusa and the Matilda matchup. So that's like double assassins. It's just a little bit weaker in the early, and it might just be punishable for the side of Besiktas.
Either the Hayabusa or the Ling, if they do want to go back to their debut matchup. It was the Ling that came out. Oh no, actually no, that was for Besiktas, not Elevate. So I mean, yeah, I think the Hayabusa would be the wisest decision here. It is a little bit interesting that they prioed that Fredrin or the Alpha instead of taking out the Hayabusa, especially with the Hilda not being on the table, and there's not really a lot of heroes that's going to harass this Hayabusa in the jungle if they do go in for that route. So definitely could be a wise decision. The Hylos getting taken off the board as well, trying to limit some of the roaming capabilities for Besiktas Esports. We still got to look at what's on the table though, right? You have the Katat, another great hero that can get to the back line and get those initial setups. You have the Cho, who wasn't banned out here as well, still could be picked up for either side.
Cho, Katat, I think are both solid options, especially if they want to look to flex into that XP. But in a Matilda matchup at mid, there's a few great options. I would like for them to look into getting those winning matchups, especially early on. One of them is Khalid. And I know before, the broadcast today, I was kind of looking at a lot of the data surrounding Khalid, and Khalid has a great win rate against the Matilda. One of the best matchups, especially level 1, and they don't go for the Khalid. However, this is still a flex pick, right? We don't know if the Katat is going in the XP or in the roam position, but with the win rate like 86%, that's going to be quite huge for the side of Besiktas.
And it looks like everybody on Elevate is getting a ticket to the Mathilda Airlines before it takes off today. So they're going to go ahead and pick up this carry. It's a similar situation to the Phoveus. The mobility is really one of the only things that carry lacks, but just shows how impactful this Mathilda on the first pick is for Elevate. And so far, I'm liking the way this draft is shifting. You're looking at this Valentina. I kind of asked the question earlier, was it premature to pick that up on the first half of the draft? But now, I mean, technically you have the Avatar of the Guardian, so you're going to be able to drop down and get some initial setups. And there goes the Hayabusa that you called out, Yue, a wizard in the making, man. You're a wizard, Yue. Don't let nobody tell you different, okay?
You know, the Hayabusa pick, it's quite expected. I think the viewers out there definitely all, thought that the Hayabusa was going to be picked from the Elevate side. They did pick it up game 1 against Incendio Supremacy. Didn't get the victory that they were looking for, but it was still a 14-minute game, so you could definitely tell that the side of Elevate has the mastery on this Hayabusa. Now, Besiktas has an important decision to make. They saw the carry, they see the jungler. What is the option that they're going to go for? Do they want a winning matchup against the Phoveus, something like the CC, which I think is going to be quite good? Or they look to just go head-to-head in terms of just out-rotating with the mobility, right? The Kata has that Avatar the Guardian to be able to kind of just jump from side to side. Now, a Ruby being picked up here, that's going to be an XP Ruby, something we really haven't seen a lot in this tournament. I don't exactly know how that matchup is going to go between the Ruby and the Phoveus, but I know for a fact the Ruby is going to have so much more sustain early on.
It's putting a lot into the baskets of the Irithyll, though, because that's the only range they have on their team now. A lot of front line to be able to rush in and take these fights. A lot of crowd control with the AOG from the Gatot, and the I'm Offended hooks from the Ruby can be effective. Plus, they have sustainability with the Ruby. But there's sustainability on the other side, right? You have the Mathilda, you pair that up with the carry, you pair that up with the Phoveus. The damage is there. The path to get out when things look a little shaky is there. And then you top that off the Hayabusa, who can get to the back line, and there's not really anybody to... I guess the Ruby could possibly try and go in for the invasion plays, but that'll be up for both sides to tell that story. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now jumping into our first series of the day for Group B's elimination match in the Snapdragon Pro Series Challenge season. Elevate up against Besiktas Esports.
A best-of-5 game coming out from both of these teams here. We kind of mentioned in the draft how things were kind of gonna go, right? The Ruby, again, it's quite good. We haven't seen it that often in the XP position, but we've definitely seen this hero perform well. And I think one of the reasons is they're trying to stop Fafnir, right? This Hayabusa has a very, very fast clear speed. You can already see already taking both of the buffs way faster than the Suyo here. And I think the Ruby's just there to kind of deal with the mobility that the Hayabusa has, right? Not only do they have to defend against the Matilda's airline, they have to defend against this Hayabusa, and I think Ruby's just trying to stop some of the members of Elevate in their place so the Avatar Guardian can hit and the Joy can get his dashes onto them.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of setup potential, but there's a lot of means to escape and disengage from the side of Elevate with the Hayabusa, with the flickers. I mean, there's 3 flickers on the side of Elevate as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out. Right now, though, Elevate has yet to find a victory in this, not Elevate, Besiktas Esports has yet to find a victory in this challenge season. So we're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on them to see if they can put that first one on the board for their side.
Yeah, and Besiktas definitely is the one that's coming out with some element of surprise, right? This Joy in the mid lane is not something we've seen quite commonly, and it's for a good reason, right? You can see already that the clear speed is not going to be there. The prio in that lane is not really having that much success, and I feel like Elevate definitely came back and started watching some of the games that Besiktas has. They're taking this turtle uncontested, and I think the comp is just right.
And now going to go ahead for the invasion play. They want to get a little bit more onto that purple buff, and it looks like Lido was able to secure it away from Tai, which means 2 objectives into the favor for Elevate.
Yeah, that is a turtle uncontested along with the blue buff. So some mistakes coming out from the side of Besiktas, right? If you don't get the objective, make sure to hit that retribution on it. And I think, Lido on this Phoveus, it's something that's really hard to deal with. A blind pick Phoveus, it's an extremely strong level 4 hero, has unlimited jumps, basically unlimited ults that has a shield at the same time. So I feel like the side of Besiktas, they're just in a bit of a trouble, but they can still come back from, just a 500 deficit.
And I'm interested to see how this damage is going to pick up for Fafnir on this Hayabusa, because a lot of these heroes are sustainable. A lot of these heroes are more frontline oriented. Since they don't go for the traditional mage, they go in for this Joy as well. So I want to see if he's going to be able to hit those easy shadow kills. He uses the guiding wind, the circle to the top side. You're looking at Chopo and Exception, maybe in a little bit of trouble, but they smell the danger, right? They know that the numbers are not in their favor, and they're going to play the safer route on the top side.
Yeah, and it's interesting from the side of Besiktas that they're deciding to have this forefront strategy. Joy, Soyu, Ruby, and Gatot. It's a lot to deal with, and it really does set up that they have to make sure this Erythel stays up and alive.
And speaking of up and alive, a little bit of a knock up on Chapo. Luigi shadow kill for the final touches. Fafnir drawing first blood for Elevate is going to take down Chapo.
Yeah, the focus coming out from Fafnir on this Hayabusa is unmatched, right? The Erythel did have that flicker to be able to jump away, but the Hayabusa was still able to get his Shadow Clone Jutsu onto them. That's going to be showing up so much success here.
And I mean, let's just keep in mind where the money is, right? They took the turtle, they took the purple buff, and now they take the ADC from Besiktas Esports. When does the bleeding stop? They need to find some trades, or they're going to eventually find themselves in a hole they can't climb out of.
Yeah, and I mean, the smart thing for the side of Besiktas, right? They know that they're losing some of these early game team fights, so they're willing to give up some of these bigger objectives to get some sort of pressure on the opposite side. They have a mid-clear prio, which means their mage and their roam is going to be rotating onto the top side much faster. This is exactly what they need. However, the defense coming out from Elevate, they're getting into positions where it's hard for BJK to really get a push onto the tower, and I think that is going to just prolong the game enough where potentially the carry is going to have a great time against the Erythel, even mid to that late game.
Speaking of Chapo and the Erythel, he just picked up the Hawes Claws too, so he now has a little bit of sustainability. Oh, speaking of sustainability, not the same store for Exception. And that is going to go ahead and be another kill for Elevate. This time, Tiso picking it up on the carry.
And no response coming out from Besiktas once again, right? The first time it was the objective on the turtle. Now even this, Fafnir's having a great time with the mobility. They were trying to draft the Ruby to be able to stop the Hayabusa, but Fafnir, he just seems like he's happy dancing away, getting some of these objectives with no contestation at all.
Yeah, and I mean, it's 3-0 now, 1,700 gold lead, and Elevate just off to a really good start with the two turtles on their side as well, and a kill, 2 kills over the Tiso, which, like you mentioned, this carry, the later the game goes, it's going to start hitting like a truck as you get those core items in. You pick up that DHS, and he's really going to start shredding the frontline composition from Besiktas Esports.
Yeah, and at this point, Besiktas is caught in a pretty bad position. You can see the Joy ult not really getting too much damage dealt. It kind of feels like Elevate just has control of the whole entire game, right? The Erythel is not doing that much damage. Look at Lido already punishing Exception.
Yeah, Exception will fall. Tiso will pick up the 3rd kill for the ADC of Elevate, the 4th kill for the team on the board, and now shifting their focus into the mid lane.
Yeah, 3-0 on the carry. That is not good news for the side of Besiktas. They want to be able to kind of have this early and mid game, right? Erythel versus carry. Yes, they're both late game Marson, but mid lane here, even then, they get the grab, but it's not going to be doing too much. Lido's going to walk out there, you know, carefree.
Yeah, and now you're going to see another turtle to the side of Elevate. Just a really rough start for Besiktas Esports so far. A turret on the top side will fall at the same time, and now Exception caught out of position again, and Tiso will be the one to deal the final touches, the 4th kill for the ADC.
Yeah, 4 kills for ADC, top and bot tower gone. No objectives on the side of Besiktas. This is already snowballing a little bit out of control. Now, if we look at the gold lead, it's not that bad, but before that, the Suyo almost low, but they take out the Joy right away here. Elevate gets another kill uncontested.
Another kill uncontested. The invasion onto the purple buff, and now the push toward the turret in the mid lane. Elevate always at the right place at the right moment. Moments ahead of Besiktas Esports, able to take the turret, now going to invade even further into their map, and Besiktas doing everything they can for a denial, but unable to find it. Tiso taking down Chapo in the process, and the purple buff will go to Elevate.
Yeah, and it just seems like the sustain that Elevate has is little bits too much to deal with, right? The Matilda, especially on the winning side, you can already see by first picking this Matilda, they've set themselves up with a lot of success. The mobility that the carry lacks, and especially going up against the Joy, the Matilda is just too much to deal with. You can take a look at this. They get some damage down though.
Yeah, a lot of heavy hits, but Boro able to find a Yaya last second. Almost got off the electrifying beats on the Tiso, but not in time. It is now a 8-0 lead for Elevate.
Yeah, bad news, Besiktas, right? It seems like the draft didn't really work out. It's a little bit too greedy to get both the Soyu and the Joy. But I think it really comes down to Elevate's first pick. If you first pick a Matilda and he goes 1, 0, and 5, it definitely means that Besiktas doesn't have the response to deal with the Matilda. Yes, the Gato Kacha, it has a pretty good win rate. However, it's not like a direct counter into that matchup. I feel like something like the Khalid could have been possible, but it's a little bit too late. The side of Elevate decides to get the Lord, and there's nothing that the side of Besiktas can do about it.
Moments ago, we saw the gold leaderboard as well, and Tiso at the top of the mountain with almost 8,000 gold. And then I was like, okay, well, where's Chapo at? How is he faring off against him? Chapo was at 4K. He is behind in the economy. There it is right there. 8,000 to 4,800 at the 9-minute mark. That's almost double the economy for Elevate.
Yeah, I mean, that's 5 kills to 3 deaths, right? There's not much a comparison there. Elevate now with pretty much the whole map ahead of themselves. Any fight that the side of Besiktas tries to take is not going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem as you see a lot of damage on the exception. Boro going to go ahead and take him down. Chapo getting a response back. First kill on the board. Takes down Lido for Besiktas Esports. But Tiso quick to clean up the pieces. Finds a Yaya. 2 members down for Besiktas. And now a push on the turret for the top side.
Yeah, they don't get the top tower, but the Lord is still marching down. They get the explosion in the inner mid side. So I think the side of Elevate's going to look to siege here.
Ooh, a little bit of a missed opportunity from Tiso on the AOG. Still going to go in though with the Quad Shadow. Bor with the immunity. Tries to get out with the Guiding Wind. Quad Shadow from Fafner. Goes back in. Goes back out. Not going to find the kill. But definitely got to give him some admiration on the possible play right there. 10-1 right now. The Lord has been bursted down, and Besiktas Esports only holding on to their inhibitor in the top lane.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes in, 2 inhibs down. Side Elevate's pretty much projected to take this game probably within the next objective. And I think Elevate is going to be quite happy with this, right? Besiktas, yes, they have some sort of late game with the Erythal. Usually it's going to be doing quite well against majority of the marksmen, but it seems like carry is just a little bit too much to deal with. Added onto that, the sustain and the mobility that Hayabusa, Valentina, and even Matilda has is just too much here.
Eski will fall, trying to fend off the purple buff play from the side of Elevate. Now it's over a 10k lead. Queen's Wings picked up by Ty. Will be able to sustain himself with some spell vamp, but is it going to be enough, especially with the amount of damage that Elevate has at their disposal, right? Tiso already has the core trinity, Corrosion Scythe, Golden Staff, and the Demon Hunter Sword to be able to shred through the frontline composition, and Fafnir just skating around with these quad shadows.
Yeah, he's dancing, and I feel like Elevate here, it's going to be a pretty simple siege. They get the objective, 20 seconds until the Lord comes down. Besiktas, they're looking for a pick, right? They're looking for some sort of mistake that Elevate might just give off. But at the same time, you can see there's so much mobility, so much map pressure. Elevate is just not scared to look for fights, to look for picks. And Besiktas, they're really backed into a corner, right? They have the Ruby to be able to potentially find a pick. And if they're able to, then yes, that would be the best case scenario. But Elevate's not looking to really give them anything. They have the top side far lane being pushed slowly. They're grouping up for this Lord, and they're even getting a lot of poke down onto their frontline member.
Yeah, now going to go ahead and focus on this objective. The Lord spawned in, and you already see some great wave cryo from the side of Elevate to force Besiktas Esports to split off and clear the minions, which will allow them to take this Lord with ease.
Yeah, and it really shows a little bit difference in terms of class, right? It seems like Elevate's, especially if a game that's looking to be closed out at that 12-14 minute mark on the second Lord, it really does tell me that the draft might be the biggest issue. There's no response coming out from Besiktas to be able to deal with any of the early aggression that Elevate has put out. There's no objectives being taken. There's no sieges that are happening on the opposite side of the map. There's no kill pressure. Nothing is working out from the side of Besiktas. And now with the defense of a 13-minute, we're talking about like 11-12k lead. It went bad really fast for this team, and it's going to be a very hard defense here.
Yeah, definitely going to be a hard mantle to climb over for the side of Besiktas Esports, as you are seeing Illuminous Lord marching through the mid lane and the full 5-man team of Elevate ready to push on forward into the base of Besiktas, moments away from possibly closing out this game, and they're going to go for the siege. The Lord at 50% HP, great defense from Besiktas, but they lose the inhibitor on the top side. Quad Shadow comes out, Fafnir taking that exception, and a moment's notice. The Aya may be next, but the base crystal will fall first, then Elevate will take game number 1 against Besiktas Esports.
A strong opening from the side of Elevate here, taking game 1 in a 14-minute fashion. Again, a very, very strong performance, kind of leading back to the draft. I keep saying the draft. Matilda first pick on a winning side is extremely hard to deal with, especially if you don't have a response. And Matilda is a hero that we've seen over and over and over. Almost every team has the ability to pick this hero up, but to not have a response for it is something that I'm a little bit caught off guard. Besiktas here, unfortunately, only had 1 kill on the Rithel. They were trying to respond by some of the early strengths of Elevate to get all the objectives for Besiktas to get a siege on the opposite lane, but they just were not having success trying to find that.
Poetry in motion for Elevate, able to find a victory, and it definitely started in the draft, right? You talked about the Mathilda on the blue pick. First pick, that's very hard to deal with, especially when you already banned out a lot of heroes that you didn't really expect the Mathilda to walk in. It was just true textbook fashion. I mean, you see the Phobias come out right after, you see the carry come out as well. And these are heroes that you normally never really have to worry about banning. So I think it was a wise decision from Elevate. And it may be something that we see follow through for the rest of the challenge season with this Mathilda coming out in the first part of the draft. But for the side of Besiktas Esports, I'm right there on that same train with you, right? Ayaya picking up this Joy, and then they pair it with the Suyo. And not only did they do that, but they chose to do that on the 2-pick swing. You could have waited to pick the Blue Yo. You could have picked that second half in the draft and made Elevate believe that that was going to be your jungler, but they showed those cards so early, which increased the opportunity for Elevate to rise even higher on the draft with these pocket picks with little to no problem. And that's exactly the story that we've seen in game number 1. Little to no problem. And it definitely began in the draft.
Yeah, and just to point out on that Matilda pick even more, the only win that Elevate was able to get on Incendio Supremacy is on the Matilda. And to put it even in a different perspective, Matilda was banned out game 1, game 3, and game 4. And game 2 was the one that Elevate won with it. So this is a hero that you could really call that is bread and butter. And Boro really showed that. He was able to save his teammate out from pretty much almost every single situation. The sustain and the mobility was too much. It seemed like the early game they were able to deal with all the rotation that the side of Besiktas was looking to put out. This is a very important pick that the side of Besiktas allowed Elevate to pick, and it led to a carry that dominated throughout the whole entire game. 79% kill participation, 7-0-4, an MVP completely well deserved. Set up from the beginning. He was like 1-0, 2-0, 3, 4-0. He played a perfect game here, Weezy.
The scary carry. You get to see it time and time again in the Land of Dawn, and hey, I'm a fan all about it. So definitely credit to Tiso and Elevate for taking game number 1 in such a fancy fashion. Now, when we're looking at the side of Besiktas Esports, it's a lot of things that we got to talk about, right? A lot of things that went wrong for them in game number 1 that hopefully they can find an answer to for their second match to tie up this series. Because myself, I always say I love to see things go the distance, and it's going to start with the draft, man. A couple of head scratchers, right? I mean, you see the Hilda banned out, and they still allow them to take up the Hayabusa, which is they could have took that themselves, or at least went for something that would have invaded a little bit better to stop this Hayabusa from popping off so well. And then not only that, but they let them get you pick the Joy and the Blue Yo, so you allow them to not only have to worry about that. They know you're not going to be running a traditional mid laner now, and they know that you're going to be forced to use this Blue Yo in the jungle. And now there's even more picks on the board for them to be able to ban them out. So I definitely think it starts with the draft. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is when they get into the game, they have to be effective on the heroes that they pick up as well. They, I assume, had a plan with that draft that they did in game number 1. But I didn't see it. Was as soon as we jumped in the land of Dawn, it just felt like they were dancing in the palms of Elevate's hands.
Yeah, it didn't really look too good. I think one thing that they can start with a lot of the teams especially, is being able to at least have an opportunity 50-50 objectives. And I think that's quite important. To be able to 50-50 objectives means you should have a decent matchup at mid. It could be a winning matchup, something aggressive early on. And when we're talking about early heroes, Khalid performs extraordinary in the lane. Hylos also does a great job as a roamer. So these are two solid picks that can go early head to head against almost any pickup, right? The Valentina was a good response for that Joy, especially with the dashes that he can counter with. So I definitely feel like this is something that Besiktas probably don't want to go with once again. But again, early pickups, if they're able to 50-50 the first objective, the second and the third one, it's going to give them a lot more opportunity to be able to fight for objectives like the Lord, right? So it sets themselves up with success. Make sure to go for some early game pickups. But Elevate here, I do know that they have good response even without the Matilda. Some of the previous games that they decided to play were some things like the Tro and the Jawhead, and these are two pick heroes to go against a team like Incendio. That's going to be tough to defend with, especially if Besiktas does go for something like a frontline set like the Hylos and like a Tigreal. I feel like Elevate might still have the response here.
Yeah, and this time around, Besiktas will be on the blue side, so definitely can shake up this entire draft and maybe a breath of fresh air for them. For Elevate, though, when they were on the blue side, they banned out the Eve, and I was wondering, I was like, that's not really a hero that you traditionally see taken off the board. And I think it was really just to keep more options available for when the swing came back on their side. But it's not the same story for Besiktas Esports, right? They're swinging in heavy with some of the more Priode bans. The Blue Yo definitely taken off the board, and then also aside it is the Bedang. The Bedang, I'm just not sold on it, man. I'm sorry. I'm still not sold on it, but maybe my thoughts will change as we progress through the challenge season, but we'll have to see. The Fanny taken off the board as well. You know who hasn't been taken off the board and it could have been picked up? Actually, no. I was going to say the Bruno, but the Bruno, even though we see it still hit like a truck, it's the range that a lot of people don't really gamble with, but it's still been very effective. I want to say it's won a lot of games that we've seen when it has been slotted.
No, I mean, definitely picks that have been taken out a lot overseas but not being shown in this matchup is that Lu Yo, the Lu Yi. Lu Yi is definitely going to be a pick that a lot of people should be looking for, but they aren't exactly. It's like a double-edged sword. It's not exactly super strong, but if they're able to use it in a correct manner, it's going to be a pretty good setup. Now, interesting here is that in this region, blue side actually has won 62% of the games, over the 37% on the red team. So, you know, last match, blue team did win with the first pick prio. Maybe this is the setup that Besiktas needs here in order for them to get past the ban stage.
You know, that's actually a really interesting stat, but okay, I got to ask you the question though. Do you really think last game was because the
blue side?
They were on the blue side? But because they did a two-pick swing. They picked the Suyo and they picked the Joy. They just showed too much. I feel like they still could have had a good hand of cards. They just exposed them too early. So hopefully we'll see a different side of a story when they are on the blue side for Besiktas Esports. But yeah, I mean, you do notice some of these patterns, and I definitely do think there is a science behind them. So now as we are looking at the draft, first phase for bans has been finalized. There goes that Hilda again. Do they take the bait? Is this an opportunity for Besiktas Esports to pick up their assassin or jungle prio right up out the gate for the first pick?
No, I think Besiktas has the ability to pick their marksmans. Granger, Harith, Arithal, Moskov, all are open. I think Granger is going to be the solid pick. Now, there's a lot of teams that already understand how to counter that matchup. However, the Granger is still going to be a solid poke hero that can combination with a lot of different heroes. Besiktas picks that up. I'm quite happy with that. Now, this is where Elevate gets quite interesting. They have the ability to take the Riddle early on. They could first pick Prio the jungler, which you have suggested, and they do go for it. I don't know about the Hayabusa. I think there's a lot of great picks open, but they have had a lot of success with that hero so far.
I mean, as long as they don't pick the Joy right after it as a follow through, then I think we're okay. But yes, I do like the option of picking up the Granger first in the draft. It's the safer route. You already know it wins the gold lane matchup, so that's solidified. And I feel like the Hayabusa, while it may have a little bit of challenges, taking off that Hilda has been one of the heavier opponents that's been given such a problem. There goes the Eve. I was wondering, I'm like, okay, they banned the Eve when their first pick, but now they're on the second pick swing and they pick it up. There goes the Joy. We know where that's going. Definitely into the hands of a Yaya, but are they going to still pick up a jungler, or do they put the Joy in the jungle this time? Do you think we see the two-peat on the Joy mid?
You know, this Eve pick just shows how Elevate is prioritizing their draft. They pick or ban this hero. Lots of respect for it, and for a good reason, right? The RWM, extremely hard to deal with. Now, you talked about this Joy. This is what I wanted to see. Joy flexed, right? We don't really see Joy being flexed anywhere, but Besiktas definitely likes to flex the Joy, and I think that's great. They showed that Ayaya is not afraid to pick up this Joy, and this Joy is actually quite good against a stationary mage like Eve, so potentially this could be a trick play. I think this has a lot more potential than going up against the Valentina. Now, Phoveus blind pick, it does allow Besiktas to tell Elevate that either one, you're picking up a counter for the Phoveus and dealing with us banning out the marksmen, or vice versa, right? Elevate goes with the marksman, so now Besiktas should potentially limit some of the matchups in that XP for this Phoveus to thrive a little bit more.
And speaking of pickups, Elevate will go in for their gold lane. They're going to go ahead and slot in this Harith to go up against this Granger. Now, I'm a fan of the Harith, and the reason why is because the Phoveus is on the table, and there's no Mathilda for him to get out to safety. So, hey, you can take that fight if you want to. If you rush in, you're going to drop straight onto his Almond Force, and there's going to be a lot of damage. This Harith is really good at taking down those up close and personal fighters. So, we'll see how that plays out. It's a little interesting on the Phoveus. I feel like while Phoveus' damage is great, it's a big gamble here, considering you don't have a ticket, a get-out-of-jail-free card with the Mathilda not being on the table for Besiktas Esports. Now, you mentioned the Joy. You said the Joy was a great hero because it could be flexed technically. They didn't showcase too many cards in the beginning like we saw in game number 1, and it's a good counter to the Eve. And I'm right there with you. I actually agree with that as well. But I hope they stick to that same story. I hope that they just keep the Joy in the jungle, even though it's a flex option. Let's just keep it in the jungle and play little traditionals. I don't feel like they can take that gamble again. I mean, we're already in game number 2, and they need to put a point on the board.
Yeah, traditional is good, right? If it's traditional, you fight range with something like a Farsa, but there is something like a Hayabusa, which does well against majority of the mid laners. So maybe something anti-dive like an Aurora could be interesting, or you deal with mobility like in game 1 with the Valentina. It's interesting for me because this Joy, putting it at mid, has the potential to just rush the Eve. Again, I would like this matchup a lot more. Yes, I would love for the Joy to be in the jungle position, but if Ayaya doesn't have a better solution, this might potentially work out here. Now, Elevate has a strong opening with the Harith and the Hayabusa, 2 picks that are often picked up, banned out, and Elevate has done well with the Hayabusa. With the bans out on the table, they take out the Valentina, they take out the Louis, 2 strongest mages. So yes, the side of Elevate has prepared to deal with some of the mage picks from inside of Besiktas, but this does give more opportunity for that Joy to be flexed in that mid, where Besiktas has the ability to be picking up a jungler instead of a mage pool that has already some heroes being chipped out.
Hylos up for grabs, was not banned out this time around, and could be a wise decision for Elevate to take before Besiktas Esports, especially wanting the mobility. I mean, you want to limit as many heroes that can provide that mobility to that Phoveus as possible, but Instead, they're going to go a different route entirely. They're going to go ahead and pick up this Lucas. Lucas, who has been stepping into the scene time and time again. And me personally, I feel like a lot of teams are not really sure where to put him yet, right? They just don't know how effective he can be. So hopefully this time around, we see Lucas be a little bit more dominant on this series. Because so far, I'm kind of in the same route as the Bedang, right? I feel like there's better options.
He's good. Don't get me wrong. I feel like in terms of being immune to a lot of crowd control is quite overpowered. However, he doesn't have the same set up feel as most of the traditional XP, right? You look at things like the Hylos, the Phoveus, even the Gatot or the Khalid. They have ultimates that can stun and lock down opponents. But, you know, going with this Lucas, it doesn't have that same raw stun. The response coming out quite interesting. I went for the Aurora route. I thought it was quite good against anti-dive like the Hayabusa. However, I feel like the Aurora might struggle in terms of the range department against the Eve. Depends on how they set up these team fights, but I like the Hylos. It does well against the Eve. The RWM gets casted down, and you got that ultimate come out from Hylos. Goalier's pathway. Everyone's going to be immune to the stuns and the slows.
Now, I love how you mentioned the range department being a problem with the Aurora versus the Eve, but I guess Besiktas kind of makes up for it in range with the Granger up against the Hereth, because the Granger has more range than the Hereth does. So I guess you get range in the gold lane, but you sacrifice it in the mid. Crowd control in the mid lane, but you sacrifice that in the gold lane. So I feel like it's the opposite, whereas the Hereth has a lot of CC on the other side. So now the final picks are in. I heard the reaction on the Ruby pickup. Did that catch you off guard?
Yeah, you know, the side of Elevate actually opted to go for a jawhead matchup against the Hylos when they went against Incendio. So this is interesting for me, right? We saw in game 1 the Ruby didn't perform where the side of Besiktas wanted. They wanted the Ruby to be able to stun up against a lot of the assassin pressures, like especially the Hayabusa. But this time around, they're deciding to have the Ruby against the Hylos. I feel like we're going to see a very different game 2. Besiktas has opted to set up for that 100% winning lane roam with the Hylos. But game number 2, guys, Besiktas Esports up against Elevate in a best of 5 series. The side of Elevate is up 1-0. So is Besiktas going to come out ahead in this matchup, tie it up, or are they going to fall behind here?
And the $1,000,000 question is, how will Ayaya perform? Right now, he's running on more of a traditional mid laner, and he's allowing the Joy to go into the hands of Tai. Is this the difference maker? Was that the reason where they fell short in game number 1 against Elevate, who had such a strong performance? I mean, it was just one-sided all over the board, taking every single objective, and little to no punish from Besiktas.
Yeah, and I will say the side of Besiktas is much more happily this time around with their mid and their roam pick, right? Hylos is going to have a great time against Ruby, although you can see the prio in the lanes is still going in the sides of Elevate. I think the Aurora is going to do much better here.
Well, we know that the Eve has more range than the Aurora in the mid lane matchup, so it will be a little bit more pivotal for Ayaya to kind of play a little bit further back in that lane. But on the bot side, it's the opposite story. Whereas Granger, he has more range up against the Hereth, but the Hereth can definitely be dominant. And if he closes that distance, could be a problem.
Yeah. And, you know, Elevate has done a great job already early game. They're putting a lot of pressure onto the mid side. But again, you can see Besiktas here getting the early clear on mid side. Yes, they're hugging onto that gold lane. It just shows that they have the dominating matchup here. Again, Besiktas, this is going to be a complete different game number 2. Just in terms of their draft, I like it a lot more. Hylos, a lot of early game. You talked about it. Eve, yes, does outrange the Aurora, but Aurora has a great clear, great stun, and is able to deal a lot of AoE damage, forcing Elevate to have a different type of team fight.
And speaking of team fight, first objective on the board, electrifying beats, a great setup. You are going to see the Shockwave Blast possibly come out. Yaya able to get the turtle. What is going on? A great steal from the Wizard on Besiktas Esports. And now Lido in trouble will fall. Eski drawing first blood for Besiktas. A kill and an objective. And another one stacking up as Ayaya finding the kill on Taboro.
This is beautiful. right? Now we get to see some of Besiktas's game plans. They get the Aurora to flicker in onto the Hayabusa, and you could see the Joy wasn't in a great position to find that retribution, and they're looking for more onto the bot side. The Zaman Force gets popped out with the Killua skin, just barely getting chunked out, but you can see the aggressiveness coming out from Besiktas Esports. Hylos, Aurora, great early game hero, and a stronger performance coming out, getting that very first objective.
Yeah, great start for Besiktas Esports. Definitely a different story from their first game in this series, and it's definitely the matchup, the draft, that has made the difference. Look at that play, the steal with the frigid Glacier, able to get the steal, able to get that turtle onto their side, and then he finds the kill right after, and there goes a little emote from Ayaya as well. Already off to a great start.
Yeah, great start, but the real world manipulation does come down here. They do get some damage onto the Hylos, but the reinforcements come back here. Ty coming out with the melody beats. They do pick up the Ruby here, and the mid side, they're chasing for more. Double kill coming out from the Joy, triple from the side of Ty here. We talked about the Joy impact. It is so much better in the jungle.
Oh, so much better in the jungle, and I think they need to stay with this recipe because it's definitely working. They are cooking in the kitchen right now for Besiktas Esports. They got a triple kill right there. That's 5-0 lead in under 5 minutes, and 3 of those going over to Ty on the Joy.
Now, it's kind of like the reverse opening, right? Elevate had that 5-0 lead early on last game. Now, this series, Besiktas has the lead. But one of the biggest difference is that take a look at the gold lane, right? It's still completely even. Now, second objective. Is Besiktas going to be able to get this here?
They're going to go for it. Fafnir able to pick it up in a moment's notice with the invulnerability play of the Ouija shadow kill, but now Quad Shadows back into the heart of the battle, but Chapo will extend the range and take him down. He will fall, but he takes the turtle. Wait a second though, Tiso, Exception duking it out. Eski, Boro, and Lido joining the party. They may need to get out of there. Eski able to get back to safety. Lido will disengage.
Yeah, 2K lead from the side of Besiktas. Looking for more here. Ruby getting chunked dangerously low. Might get taken off the board, but Chapo decides he does not want that kill. Going for a little bit more discipline onto the objective. But you can take a look at Besiktas' aggressiveness here, right? The XP has already been out of the lane. The goalie's pathway gets casted, and they're looking to just waste that Hayabusa's time even more here.
Yeah, just a really good game for Besiktas Esports. A flawless game on their side, 2,300 gold lead, and you're already seeing the Hunter Strike picked up from Chapo. So he's going to have a little bit of that pin, a little bit of that initial speed boost as well to be able to be more of a threat. Starlame Scythe picked up from the Hereth as well. Both sides battling it out on the bottom lane. Destinata coming out from Chapo. Cosmic Fission for some damage for the counterplay.
Oh, wow.
And Tiso will find him. Gold laner falling for Besiktas Esports, and now we'll need to disengage as a 4-man rotation onto the bot side. But wait a second, Ty, Ayaya joining the party. Glorious Pathway comes out, electrifying beats to the backline, finds Enzo. Lido very low. Back to the turret he goes, and now it is a 4v4. Tiso able to take down Ayaya off screen, but on the top side, the split push play, and you will see Fafnir take the turret.
Yeah, some mistakes being made by the side of Besiktas. Elevate here played it calm and collective, right? They're able to get the Hereth onto Chapo, gets their first kill there, and then they deny the Aurora with a flicker play. So there's Aurora without a passive. So that's double the trouble here. Now Besiktas looking to get the objective here. 50-50 potentially, but it might be a hard one here.
Both sides have gotten the turtle so far. Who will have the advantage? Fafnir able to get it again. 2 turtles in a row for Elevate in the heart of the battle, in the middle of the RWM. Demonic Force dropping down the Infernal Pursuit as well. Both sides fighting it out. Eski needing to disengage. Very low. Exception right behind him. Electrifying Beats may be the difference here. And Exception able to get back to safety alongside Eski. They will disengage, but Besiktas looks like they're losing their grip. The turtle goes to Elevate.
Yeah, I'm not really happy with Ty's position in all of these objectives. First turtle, he was close to the objective, but it felt like he was valuing his life, and he didn't even get the retribution off. Second objective, same thing, and now the third one, it's still not even close. Top side here, Hereth gets taken off the board. Yes, that is a kill that they're looking for. A little bit of an over-aggression from the side of Elevate, a little bit uncharacteristics. But again, it doesn't seem like the 50-50s are happening where the Hayabusa is struggling. He's still getting the retributions off here.
Oh, but they're going to try and find a response back. Yaya will fall. Both sides find it out in the mid lane. Lido taking some hits. Ty down to about 50% HP. Fafnir looking for a quad shadow play. Does he go in for the setup? I don't know. I mean, I feel like Exception can
not on highlight
take the Ouija shadow kill, so he is going to go ahead and disengage.
Yeah, gold lead 700. Elevate struggling in terms of the kill department, but in the macro sense, they're not doing too bad, right? They got a top and a bot tower trade from both of these teams. In terms of objective, Elevate, I think 2 turtles to 1. So, you know, it's quite even. And again, in their first match, we saw a 14-minute end. This time around, I said it's going to be a complete different game. It is. It's a 50-50 game from both teams. We don't know who's winning here. And Besiktas here still struggling to be able to defend their marksman.
And that's going to be what makes the difference, right? I mean, if your ADC continues to fall, it's the second death for Chapo. Fafnir doing great on these quad shadow plays, and Exception just a little too late to protect him. Now trying to find an answer, a response back. Showcasing, what in the world? Did you just see Granger floating in the middle of the air? I thought I'd seen it all in the Land of Dawn.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely surprising here, but Inception getting chunked dangerously low. He popped the Revitalize early on the bot side. He was looking for like a 1 versus 3 fight, but didn't able to get that. And here we go, the aggressiveness coming out from inside to Elevate.
Yeah, Lord Eski in trouble. Infernal Pursuit not enough, and Lido will check him out. You are looking at Exception. Ayaya and Chapo trying to fend off the push from Elevate on the top side while the Lord has spawned in. Fafnir picking up the BOD as well and now focusing on the Lord.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the side of Besiktas is looking to come forward the aggressiveness, but this might just be what they're looking for.
And Snow is going to go ahead and get a kill while Fafnir claims the Lord. 2 objectives for Elevate, and so able to get Ty for the double kill as well. The Wombo combo double, the trouble, and Elevate finding a way to turn this game around.
Yeah, with the lead that the side of Besiktas has, they wasn't really able to convert it into any winning team fight. And here, another team fight going towards the side of Elevate. They get 2 and the objective without losing a single member. This is really bad news for the side of Besiktas. This is the first time that Elevate actually was able to grab the lead back from the beginning of the match. Some of it is like micro mistakes, right? Where, you know, it's a one-on-one fight. They get caught off, bad skills being used, but sometimes it's just macro. The side of Elevate, they're able to group up much better as a unit of 5 and find the picks that they're looking for.
And there goes another pick on the board for them as Ty will fall. Now the seeds for the tier 2 turret in the mid lane. Elevate on the push, and BJK on the defense. Not going to be able to hold him off, and it will fall. Ezzo will be the one to take that down. Exception forced to use a glorious pathway to safety, but Fafnir may expand the distance. Does not go in. Oh, yeah. Oh, why? Huh? Did you see that?
A YY. Yeah, unfortunate. No ultimates being placed down from the world. They're not going to be able to have that for the defense. Zamaforts gets put down here, looking to siege onto the top side here. Elevate might bit off more than they could chew here. They do get taken out by the Hereth here, and then another kill. So yes, most definitely Elevate here. They lose 2 members, but they do get a push onto the top side. So is their inner inhibitor tower worth a 2-man death? It's definitely going to come down to if they're going to be able to defend this mid. They get the lane clear onto the mid side. Elevate should be quite safe in terms of the siege that's coming up, but it's still a 2 conceal play here.
Ooh, Boro in a little bit of trouble. Used the conceal play, but did not expect them to deal that much damage from that mid bush. And now the punish on the way from Besiktas. Fafnir will find Ty though. Chapo responds back, taking down Enzo. Lido joining the party, rushes in with the shockwave blast, dealing some damage. Tiso, Fafnir alongside him. A 3v4 in the mid lane. Desanata coming out from Chapo from afar. Both sides putting on a good fight, but BJK finding some pushback.
Yeah, finding some pushbacks. on, I would kind of say, a throw coming out from Elevate, right? You don't conceal 3 versus 5, and you don't even defend mid. You go for a fight, which is a big mistake here.
Ooh, great target prioritization, forcing out the Pride of Ice onto Ayaya. Not able to deal the final touch. Fafner needed to get away. Boro trying to kite, trying to stop the push in. A great defense from Elevate. A close call for Fafner and Ayaya, and both of them will retreat back to the base.
Yeah, this is, you know, what the side of BJK has to be looking for. They have to get this objective, but they're getting choked down so dangerously low. And the Phobius gets taken off the board right away. That's bad news for the side of Besiktas as they lost their advantage in numbers. And with the loss in that, they're pretty much going to give away this objective completely for free. This goes back to that square one where they lost the top tower, they lost the objectives here, and Elevate is just going to be able to take this uncontested.
Did you see Chapo on that Death Sonata, man? I thought he would have stole that. But there goes that matchup that we were talking about when it came to the draft. The Harith against the Phobius, right? Phobius rushes in with the Infernal Pursuit, trying to be aggressive, but the Harith is really good at these frontline composition heroes, and Tiso just completely shredded him. Now with the Luminous Lord on the top side and 2 inhibitors standing, BJK will have to put on the defense.
Yeah, but they have a fighting chance, though. You take a look at some of the gold leads that they have. Everyone is even. Marksman to marksman, jungle to jungle. The only difference is that 2K on Enzo, right? The Eve just has a little bit more money, but the Lord now is coming down onto the top side. Elevates with the aggressive siege. Pop the conceal already, looking to get a little bit more onto the mid side.
And the waves are synced as well, which means this push could work in their favor, but a lot of damage. Boro needing to get out the safety tie with the electrifying beats. Will fall. Enzo able to take him down. Fafner taking down Ayaya. 2 members down from the side of Besiktas. Lord will fall. Lido finding an exception. 4 members down as Tiso takes down Chapo. Eski left to defend against the team of Elevate, and they will rise to the occasion again, claiming game number 2 against Besiktas Esports.
Much better response, right? We see much better response in terms of the early game from the side of Besiktas, but Elevate is still able to come out with a convincing win. 14 minutes in, that means it's 2 Lords. Second Lord, Elevate is still able to push forward on this victory, and it's really well played from the side of Elevate. This is really showcasing the flexibility in terms of their draft. They're not scared to put something like a Ruby in the roam. They have a great gold lane, they have a great mid lane matchup, and they even have the jungler that they won with in game 1. So Besiktas here, they have to come out with the response, and I think they did find some momentum. Just a little bit more is needed for them to kind of push through in this matchup. They're just missing a little bit more here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a closer game, which means they're moving toward the right direction. They just got to put a little bit more oomph in it to get that finish, especially when they have the lead against Elevate. But the difference in the gameplay, I think, definitely goes back to that Joy not being in the mid lane and this time being flexed into the jungle and running that traditional mage. But still, even with that perfect recipe in the draft, it was not enough to stop the synergy from Elevate. Their overall composure, able to keep them in that game, able to turn that back around, and able to find their victory.
Yeah, I mean, high damage from the Harith is expected here. The Eve, which is blind picked early on, also had 80% kill participation. And, you know, I talked about getting the high list for the side of Besiktas, right? Something that is quite secure in the roam position. He did have 100% kill participation, highest damage tanked. So, you know, in terms of how the side of Besiktas was drafting, it is so much better, especially with Ayaya on a range mage like the Aurora. The impact was shown significantly early on. However, it just feels like the side of Elevate has a much better 5 going on. Feels like all their members understand what their role is. They're able to get a lot of these retribution off. And take a look at the Joy. He's just not in position to get the 50-50s in most of these fights.
Yeah, you mentioned Ty's positioning on the neutral objective plays. Even when they have a full 5-man team, it just feels like he's just a little too far. And that makes the difference when it comes to the retro plays, which helps the objectives go over to Elevate's favor, even when they had a massive advantage. Just to be able to turn this around showcases a couple of cracks in their armor that they need to buff out before game number 3.
Yeah, and so game number 3, right? I think the biggest question that we have is how can Besiktas come back in this series? And it starts with first one game at a time, right? How can they draft better in this game 3? Number 1, it seems like their Joy mastery is spread across their mid and their jungle position, which means this Joy prio, I think, is quite good. I think it's something that they can build upon. They took out the Matilda and they put something in like the Hylos and the Aurora, which did quite well early on. I don't think that is an issue either. But this gold lane, I feel like there's an issue, right? They have to make sure that they can get an advantage with a winning matchup in the gold position. Trading a Granger for the Harith did not work out that well for them, right? With both of them being banned out and having kind of like that Erithal matchup and carry, it still didn't work out. So I feel like they have to find a way to maybe get something in between.
Yeah, there's a couple of elements to look at this from, right? A couple of different angles, especially with Tiso getting the second MVP in a row. First thing that comes to my mind is, well, if he's getting the MVPs, obviously something's going right for him, and we need to stop that, right? We need to find a way to get to the gold lane. We need to find a way to shut him down so that he doesn't pick up and have a full game with 0 deaths, right? I mean, that's a high value target right there, finding the ADC. So that's step number 1, and that task is going to most likely go to the roamer and to the mid laner to be able to get that job done, unless you go in for the jungle assassin to be able to get to the back line at a moment's notice, to be able to get to that ADC on the ganks. That's going to be the first thing I focus on. The second thing is the back line and the mage prio, right? When you have a Yaya playing on something more traditional and he's running around with the roamer, I just need to see a little bit more push to be able to get to beat the opposing mage tank synergy, right? To beat them to the objectives and find those pickoffs. The third thing is the retry plays, right? I mean, Fafnir, I just feel like he's just a little bit more active on the map. He's finding these kills, he's finding these objectives, and Ty's taking more of the back seat.
Yeah, and talk about the backseat here. We do have a free code for any of you guys out there looking to grab some up in your backseat, right? Like, this is a free code for all you guys. But again, talking about the points, I like how you brought up the retry position of the jungler too. I felt like the side of Elevate, they just have a better response, a better a way of setting up these objectives where the 50-50 is not 50-50 anymore. It's a 60-40, a 70-30. They're making sure that they're putting a lot of emphasis on zoning out the enemy jungler, and that's what's gonna make it hard for the side of Besiktas to be able to even get an opportunity for 50-50, right? However, there is ways to go around that. You could come in with something like an alpha, where it's very objective focused. A Fredrin, which was actually banned out the first game, could be objective heavy, right? You're dealing with an assassin. So against assassins, there's always response for that. I feel like assassins may have a good potential onto getting kills on the opposite side of the map, but they should not be losing, in terms of the retribution battle against something like a tank or even a fighter. So maybe drafting towards something outside of the Joy could give them a little bit better response here. But again, you have to understand this. Hayabusa is coming out from the side of Elevate. Regardless, Hayabusa is going to be out. Does Besiktas have a response for that? Right? That's number 1. Number 2, how do you deal with Tiso? Getting 2 MVPs, no deaths. You talked about it. Can the roam get onto the top side or into the gold lane? We've seen the roam do a great job there. However, he's not converting into kills. He's showing a lot of pressure. Maybe something like a Franco Kaja, where you just have to get up there and get that suppression, or even the Chow flicker, right? You get that Jikundo up there, weigh the dragon back. It's a guaranteed kill. Can you put Tiso on the back foot where it's like, I cannot go out unless I see them? Or else Tiso is just gonna scale into infinity, and Elevate's gonna take this one again here.
And I feel like we know which way this is going, right? They banned that Eve again, similar fashion to game number 1, which means
they banned the Hilda.
Yep.
Again.
You know what's going to come out for first pick for Elevate should be the Mathilda. I wonder if Besiktas Esports is going to respect that. Are they going to ban that out entirely? Because that really disrupted them, right? You know what's going to follow the Mathilda too? The carry and the Phobius, because Besiktas isn't going to pick that up. They don't have the Mathilda to be able to get them out to safety, which would be a very big gamble. So they are forced right now to make that decision. Do we ban this Mathilda? If they do, then you can go ahead and go for the safer option, like you mentioned in the second draft, right? Picking up the Granger first pick. So right now, Elevate in a very strong position in this draft and pretty much forcing them into checkmate. And I think this goes back to the point that you mentioned in the very beginning of this on how the blue side just has a higher percentage rate when it comes to victory over the red.
It's very interesting. I like to bring up that statistics because it's just something I think the viewers might want to know. However, it still has that 30-40% of lose, right? It's not guaranteed win, just like the Matilda. It's like a 50% win rate hero. It is quite good that a lot of teams are picking it out, but has a lot of bad matchups where a lot of teams aren't exactly willing to blind pick it. It doesn't have the best capabilities on winning mid. And okay, very interesting here. They're actually allowing Besiktas to decide if they want the Granger being taken out or not, right? The Harith has been taken off, so is the Matilda. They're not going with their strategy on the first game. However, this is something interesting. I feel like Elevate is not scared here to assert dominance. I think they're gonna Hayabusa first pick. And they're just gonna be like, no! Woo! The Fanny. I didn't even know it was open.
No, you said assert dominance.
Yes.
That is asserting dominance right there. That's whew. That is definitely a bold statement.
You know, Fanny has matchups that aren't good. Now, I am not happy with this. Okay. I think there is roamers that can lock Fanny down. I think there is junglers that can put Fanny in his place. Arithal, I actually do like this. It's a little bit harder to catch. However, I was expecting something like a Fredrin opening or even something like a Franco Kaja. There's still Ruby that has been picked throughout this match. There's the Chow, the Tigreal, a lot of options open. But going with the Badang, bro, I don't know. Actually, thinking back now, Badang has had a decent win matchup against Fanny. No, I'm telling you, I think M5 is where Badang actually had a time where they would pick the Badang against the Fanny because the Badang can catch him. So
it's contagious.
Maybe I'm gonna eat my wins here.
Don't do this, UA. We've came so far. Now you're looking at the Badang pickup, though. I mean, you have the fist crack, you have the wall, but is it enough to stop the cables from hovering around and getting those early pickoffs and bridging the way for the early game? Elevate's going to go in for another early focused hero. They're going to pick up this Farza, who's able to have mobility as well and a lot of damage potential and artillery with the Feathered Airstrike. Response back, though. True Besiktas Esports fashion, they're still going to go in for this Joy, which means all 3 games so far, they have had the Joy on their side. And 2 games in a row, it was not able to find the victory. So right now, the Joy win rate is going down the drain for the challenge season. But with the Badang, man, it needs a little bit more for me to really get on the board, right? We need something else to be able to catch this Fanny. Now, Fanny can get caught in crowd control now. It's not like she's completely invulnerable with those steel cables. So maybe going in for something in the mage department that could make up the difference could be the game plan. The Hylos, though, I like this, right? I mean, you haven't got to see the Hylos. It was banned out in the last game. It's highly mobile. It can get a lot of stoppage, and it's a path to escaping or a path to engaging. So a lot of mobility working in the favor for Elevate so far.
Okay. I'm gonna shoot you with something. The Badang has the wall to stop Hylos in his track. Has the ability to dash and cancel Farsa with almost every one of his spells.
Wait.
And also,
when we end this game, we're going to read back all these things that you said the Badang is supposed to do. And I'm going to ask you, did you see it? All right? Somebody clip this right now before this game starts. All right, UA, continue.
I know BJK is down 0-2. The momentum is not in their favor. When we take a look at all the matches that they had, it was not looking good. But this Badong, from an analyst standpoint, is good against these 3 picks that Elevate has set up. The Badong, at least, okay, MPL SG 1 year ago, right? There's a guy named Diablo, has picked this Badong, winning up against Fanny's multiple times.
But Diablo's XP though, right? He's not running it.
Yes.
Wrong. So do you
now this is XP here. Okay. So the Joy still flex. I love this coming out from Besiktas. I love how they could put the Joy in the roam, in the mid, or in the jungle. It adds that versatility that Besiktas, it's just their composition. I like the Rithel as the strongest marksman after the Harith and the Granger. I like this Badong. And now with the Kufra does well against the Fanny, does well against the Farsa. So in terms of the matchup, I like what's going on. Elevate here comes out with the Beatrix. This might be a little bit tough to deal with because Beatrix is one of those marksmen that has damage that can out damage something like a Joy, that can out lane and outrange something like an Arithal. However, this Kaja, oh my. Elevate takes the Kaja themselves. It's a little interesting. Yeah, I saw your face. Interesting. I think it's to deal with the Joy. However, Besiktas goes with a double assassin. I don't know if double assassin is the way here.
It's interesting for sure to see, and I like the way that this draft wrapped up for Besiktas Esports. Okay, I was a little iffy when the Badong came out, but now that I'm seeing the full capability of what they have with this draft, I'm actually starting to like the picture that they're painting, right? You have this Kufra, like you said. It's some good counters to the Farza, it's some good counters to the Fanny. You're not putting as much pressure on that Badong to get the ultimate fish crack of a lifetime to stop this Fanny, right? You're getting a lot more insurance from the Kufra being alongside you. So that's a lot of pressure lifted up from the Badong. The Badong now in the XP lane, I think could be a little bit better of a gameplay for him. Now the Kaja stepping into the scene for the other side will be a treat to watch as well. And speaking of treats to watch, ladies and gentlemen, we are now jumping into game number 3 of the challenge season Snapdragon Pro Series Elevate up against BJK from Group B elimination match.
I'm scared, Weezy. You know, assassin versus assassin in the jungle. Hayabusa actually has a pretty good time up against the Fanny. You could already see there's a little bit of a jungle speed difference here. The Hayabusa is just having a little bit of a better time. The Kaja, something we don't see quite often, is great against assassins. So something like the Joy, Hayabusa, it's a great response. And to add on with the damage coming out from the Farsa and the Beatrix is going to be hard to deal with. A little early aggression though coming out mid-side. Fanny going in for some damage.
Oh, them cables ain't cabling. They're not cabling right now. It's a little too late to the party, and a good aggressive start from BJK.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting opening from the side of BJK here. I expect them to kind of have the advantage because they got the mid matchup that they're looking for, right? Joy against a Farsa. I believe this is the same matchup that we saw when they went up against Falcon, and BJK had a pretty easy time. And take a look, right? Look, the dive coming out. Farsa is just not equipped to handle the damage like that.
Oh, the response back from Fafner, but the cables! Oh, he gets taken down himself. Almost a good play, but the denial from Ayaya last second.
Yeah, this is a little bit tricky because it seems like the Fanny missed a few too much cable. He was able to get the punish onto the Hayabusa. However, you know, Fanny is a very snowball hero, and I'm not sure how Fafner is with the Fanny, you know. However, it's momentum based, right? You make 1-2 good plays, you're gonna continue making good plays. Sometimes when you don't have the confidence, it could be hard, and it just seems like, look, Besiktas, they're having prio over the objective, which means the Hylas is quite useless early on. They don't have a great matchup with the Farsa, and also the Kufa does well against the Kaja traditionally. I really like how BJK has set their draft up, and it comes down to putting this Joy into this flex position. They're able to find the matchup that they're looking for either in the mid or in the jungle, and it sets themselves up with success going into this mid game here.
Yeah, and I mean, right now they definitely have the advantage, at least for the early phase. Can change at a moment's notice. But this is similar to what we saw in game number 2. They had such a massive advantage, and it quickly was turned around from Elevate. So they need to know how to keep this momentum rolling, right? They got to make sure they don't make a mistake for it to flip back against them. And that's what I'm going to be keeping a close eye on as we progress through game number 3.
Yeah, but I really feel like BJK has a lot more confidence right now. You can take a look at how they're rotating. They're sitting in bushes. They have the lane prio. Look, mid lane is cleared so much faster, allowing this roam and this mid matchup to have the ability to run around the whole entire map. Top side though, 3-man, 4-man siege coming out from the side of Elevate, potentially looking to push back, but BJK with a good response, knowing that they're outnumbered here, decides to back off.
Yeah, decides to back off. So Fafnir, he did pick up 1 kill up against Ty, but both of them having 1 kill and 1 death, which means they're pretty much even in this situation. But Ty going for more of the neutral objective turtles, where I feel like Fafnir's going to try and shoot off for the side lanes, but we'll figure that out momentarily. We just shadow kill far behind enemy lines. The wing by wings forced out from Enzo to escape.
Yeah, the shadow kill does come off, but the response, the Kaja able to get the stun, and the Kufa ultimate does come down onto the marksman, but no response coming out from Set Inception. He does get taken off the board. Fafnir going for a little bit more here, picks up the Rithal here. The Fanny going crazy, gets that double kill. Side of Elevates already with a good setup and gets another one. The mistakes coming out from BJK is just too costly. That is an objective and 3 kills, pushing Elevate to a 1k gold lead.
Fafnir able to get the job done just when we had a little bit of doubt. Definitely still keeping a close eye on him, but getting that triple kill, not the easiest thing to pull off. I was wondering what kind of Fanny we were seeing today, right? Was it going to be old school antenna cables, or was it going to be satellite TV? I think we've got a little bit of satellite TV on the way.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw a little bit of a missed cable, but Fafnir here, I mean, showing us that his Fanny is good works, and it came down to Boro's setup, right? We saw the suppression coming out. They're able to pick up their first target and just snowballed from there. Elevates in a very, very happy position so far. BJK looking to find some response. They do have the front line to be able to set up, but Chapo here alone on the top side.
Oh, the flicker play. Divine Judgment at Enzo with the feathered airstrike seals the fate of Chapo. Target has been seized, but now the counterplay on the way from Besiktas. The wall comes down. Grenade bombardment dropping down as well. Both sides fight it out. Glorious pathway cutting off. The retreat, and Lido will find Eski. Exception, Ayaya left on the top side against a 3-man rotation from Elevate.
You know, there's always that awkward feeling as a roam where you're full health and your whole team is dead. Right? And this is exactly what it's looking like here.
Ooh, Time Shabin's on the wall. You've seen the turret drop, though, on the top side. Electrifying beats. We'll find Lido. Tiso finding Exception. A 1-for-1 trade.
2k gold lead for the marksman here. The Beatrix already building up that Blade of Despair. That's going to be a huge damage difference in that gold lane. However, Ayaya is actually doing quite well. About an 800 gold lead. However, in terms of the junglers, seems like there's a 500 gold lead for the side of Fafnir. So Elevate with a decent chunk of gold lead onto the marksman, but the side of BJK looking to get the objective, and it's going to be uncontested here. Potentially looking for a fight.
Yeah, looking for some type of trade. They lose the turtle. Exception forced to retreat. Has to use the flicker to expand the distance, but able to make his way back to safety.
Yeah, you know, a decent response from the side of Besiktas. This does show that Elevate aren't really looking to siege on objectives as much, right? They're looking for Fafnir to get some pickoffs here. He comes in with the steel cabers. You talked about it. Is this satellite friendly. And, you know, Fafnir definitely showcasing some ability on that.
He just stole that purple buff. This man just did a flyby, retreat, stole the purple buff, and went back to his side of the jungle. And now they want blood. They want a response. And Lido trapped behind a wall. They used everything against him, and he was able to sustain himself.
Oh, this is bad. Watch, Enzo looking for a bait. It's gonna be a 4-man siege from inside of Besiktas, and that Kaja is just gonna come out of nowhere, get the suppression, and it's gonna be a free kill. Besiktas, I feel like they're suddenly under a lot of pressure. It feels like they have the winning draft, but in terms of how they're setting their team fight up, how they're protecting their marksman, the 4-man, you know, Ube unit from the side of Elevate is just a little bit too much to deal with, right? Like, you take a look. The marksman, free farming, you know, completely uncontested on the bottom side. They have the opposite, you know, half of the map compared to the Lord. So, you know, definitely Besiktas on the back end here.
On the back end for sure, but don't want to count them out just yet. They need to find an opportunity, a window, a mistake from Elevate. Glorious Pathway going down from Lido. Yaya in the bush, so why is he there? He needs to get out. At least he's running on that joy, so he will be mobile. Now, this is potentially a farewell for Besiktas Esports if they don't find this win. This could be their last game for the challenge season.
Yeah, and, you know, the suppression does come out here. The pulls Ayaya, which is a great target. But instead, they got traded for the Beatrix. I don't know if that's a win here, but if they're able to get a little bit more, that's great. Fanny on the bot side gets that tower. The fish crack does come down. It is some damage with the high boost onto the backside. Does pick up Boro. It is a 2-for-1 trade, although they did get denied a tower. Having winning trades here on a losing matchup is going to be great for the side of Besiktas.
Yeah, Fafnir went in for the turret push instead. Ty is going to take down Lido. Fafnir without the purple buff, forced to go to the jungle, opening up the opportunity for Besiktas to take this Lord. I wonder if he's still going to go in for a 50-50 retribution play. I mean, they don't have the numbers. It's a full 4-man stack to defend. Finish Rage dropping down, does not hit the mark at about 40% HP. Fafnir trying to cable around. Ty spots him out, goes on the chase. Ty able to get the retribution with the quad shadow play, and Fafnir forced to go back to safety, finds his cabling into the turret on the top side. Exception winding up for the setup, gets the knock and the pushback onto the wall. Yaya finding Boro. That is going to be 1 member down for Elevate and a lost Lord for their side.
Game 4. Besiktas here with, you know, a sliver of hope. Getting some pickoffs here and there translates to an objective. This is the difference between game 2 and game 3. They're able to find kills, and it translates into an objective. It translates into something a little bit more. That's what Besiktas was missing, and they're able to do that. They're able to take care of that mistake here. 4-man siege onto the bot side. They pick up Lido once again here. However, it seems like Elevate looking for some response.
Yeah, looking for a potential pickoff play, but not able to close the distance onto Ty. Chapo, though, speaking of closing the distance, does take the turret in the mid lane.
Mid and top gonna be both going down here. The side of Besiktas coming out with the first lead that they had past 10 minutes. The first 2 games, unfortunately, it was just one-sided. And by the time it was this 11-minute mark, they already had their inhibs going down. So this time around, Besiktas already in a much better position. They're looking to deny some of the Fanny's buff here. I think that's great. They might be able to get it here.
I saw the retribution come out. Looks like they were not able to get the contest invasion play onto the purple buff. Fafnir able to pick it up just in time. I was looking at Fafnir's build too. He went in for the War Axe first and then the Rose Gold Meteor. That's not something you see too often on a Fanny, but definitely interesting to see how it has actually been working for him as he's 4-1 right now.
It's a little bit more sustain heavy, right? I believe at some point we had this one-shot Fanny build become very popularized, where people go something like a Blade of Despair, a Blade of Heptaseas, you go for Pen, something like Malefic Roar. But nowadays, it seems like they want to go a little bit more utility, a little bit more sustain, right? Building something like a War Axe gives a little bit of resist, a little bit of health, and just a little bit more overall damage in the long run with a little bit less burst.
Speaking of burst, Fafnir quickly bursted to the moon. That is going to be exception. Able to get that kill. But now the counterplay from Elevate. Nibiru's Passion coming out as well. Yaya trying to wrap around for possible electrifying beats moment. Not going to find the opportunity, and now going to shift focus on clearing out these waves.
Yeah, the side of Besiktas do trade 2 flickers for Fafnir, which I definitely feel like it's worth it. They do get the stun onto the Fishcrack God. The Badang gets taken off the board. It's going to be a 4 for 4 here, but without a retribution, the side of Besiktas gets the objective uncontested here, looking for more, picks up the Hylos here, and the double kill. That's some good news from the side of Besiktas.
Ty able to not only get the Lord, but to get the double kill alongside it and not find anything. I guess Eski fell in the process, and I feel like that really opened up because Eski took all the damage. He forced out a lot of utility before they tried to engage, right? A lot of the ultimates and skills came out, which gave VJK the ultimate advantage, and now with this Luminous Lord on their side, like you mentioned, past that 10-minute threshold, 13 minutes in, VJK has a chance to win their first game in this series.
Yeah, and this is big, right? Besiktas got the first Lord, now moving on to the second one. They're looking for some of the inhibitors, potentially. They might be able to get a siege onto this mid side, but it seems like Elevate is quite disciplined in terms of their defense. They have wave clear. They have the ability to start big team fights, right? The Glorious Pathway paired up with the Feather Airstrike. It's going to be a hard siege coming out from Besiktas. Now paired up with the potential of a Flicker Kaja. It's really hard for any of Besiktas to be able to get a siege unless they do it from a bush here.
Ooh, Feather Airstrike coming out from Enzo. Tiso able to find exception, a little bit of a misplay, trying to find the setup for Besiktas Esports. Luminous or Lord on the top side does come down, trying to open up the base in BJK's favor. Numbers not on their side.
Yeah, but they do get that Lord being pushed onto the top side inwards, right? So the tower is already in half HP. Besiktas should look to back out and try to find a way to rinse and repeat these objectives. It seems like Besiktas, they have a great way of setting up some of the sieges. Seems like some of their fights look good. The only difference is they have to almost sacrifice somebody for Boro's ult almost every single time. It was Lord Eski early on, and then on that last siege, it was the Kufra. So somebody kind of has to die here. However, the Flicker only comes down, on like a 2-minute cooldown. So if the Kaja is looking to go for a little bit of a fight, it's still based off of kind of like a 2-minute cooldown. Elevate still has a way to deal with this. However, if you just take a look at, how they're setting up these fights still, Elevate is playing kind of on a defensive position, playing on the far side of the map.
It looked like both marksmen picked up the Malefic Gun as well, so they will have that extended range for these next engagements. Now, I love how you mentioned this Kaja, right? I mean, when it's BJK forced to basically let somebody rush in to take that Divine Judgment to the face.
No.
And this time, it will be Ty. Fafnir will get the kill on him as well. They don't have their jungler, which means it will not be a 50-50 play for the Retribution. But look at the stack. Look at the bush. Besiktas Esports rushing in. Lido able to spot him out. You're going to see the Venice Rage drop down in the heart of the battle in the mid lane. A lot of damage on a Tiso, though, forced to disengage. They're buying time, though. Good defense from Besiktas, as Ty only has 20 seconds now before he spawns back in, and they're not going to be able to push in for this Lord.
It's a good defense, but a lot of spells and utility being traded out, right? Ayaya had to use that Vengeance and the ultimate, so they're not going to be able to have that in this next upcoming team fight. And look, Elevate is taking advantage of that. They know the skills are on cooldown.
Ooh. Oh! Now both sides fighting it out. Feather Airstrike going down. Chapo finding Tiso. Enzo finding exception. A 1-for-1 trade. Look at the Lord. Fafnir able to get it for Elevate. They have found the turnaround, and they will disengage.
This is crazy, right? Inception was able to get the punish onto the Beatrix It's so Tiso here literally gets taken off the board without doing any bit of damage, but Fafner's retribution just still comes in straight clutch. He gets the objective, doesn't die, and the side of Elevate, yes, the Beatrix is down. It's a 4-for-4 siege so far. The side of Besiktas, they're going to have to give away some of the towers. It might be both the mids, it might just be one of them, but this defense is going to be hard. Yes, Feather Airstrike is gone, but there's still the potential, the Glorious Pathway, and the suppression.
Ooh, and now a little bit of a punish on the top side.
Oh!
Able to find Boro. The Roamer falling for Elevated. Yaya finding Lido, 2 members down. As they tried to take an opportunity, they saw Besiktas bursting down the Lord before it even made its way to the inhibitor turret, and they thought they could get the kills from the overextension from Besiktas, but it worked in Besiktas' favor.
Yep. Do we see the impact? Oh, the Feather Airstrike almost taking out Ayaya there. Ayaya popped the Vengeance. I think that saved his life. But now the siege coming out from Besiktas, looking to potentially close out this game here.
Wait a second, though. May need to put a pump on the brakes. Ty, very low. Ouija Shadow Kill. Not going to deal any damage, though. You are looking at the Wind of Nature taking effect. Elevate able to deal some damage. Exception Fafner. Chapo finding Tiso. Killing reactivated. Boro finding Chapo to respond back. 3 members down for Besiktas Esports. A double kill for Boro. Lido left to defend alongside him. 2v2 in the mid lane. Besiktas denied on their push.
Yeah, 3-for-2 trade, but it was kind of, you know, both marksmen died, both junglers died. There's not going to be too much siege come out. There is damage coming out from this Farsa, but the Badang, with the amount of cooldowns that he has, right? Magic shoes into the Oracle, brute force. This dude is running fast and he has so much mobility. That is the strength of that Badang pick. That is why I feel like the Badang is quite good in this matchup. However, Besiktas has to look for a way to close this game out. They're already doing much better than game 1 and game 2. If they end up getting a winning team fight, they definitely have the potential to close this out and push us into a game number 4. But Elevate, they have the win behind them. They won game 1, game 2. And it seems like they have the ability to, you know, get the pick off that they needed here, potentially even right here. They have the Kaja, right? They could just pick one unit and rinse and repeat based off of the cooldown. But BJK with a great position over the neutral objective.
Yeah, but Elevate trying to find a path into the Lord Pit for the contest. They know this objective may be the difference in who wins this game. A chance to possibly eliminate Besiktas Esports from the challenge season, and they're going to go for the opportunity. Ty will take the Lord. A good start for Besiktas, but now need to get to safety. Enzo with the shutdown on Ayaya. Unstoppable. Chopper responds back, finding Fafner. Exception, very low himself, needs to get away. Lord Eski trying to use the fist crack, trying to get away. Lord now intact on the top side to push back Elevate. It has bought Besiktas some time. Yue, we are now past the 20-minute mark. We are in the late game.
Yeah, and I think Besiktas here is really happy with the position, but this is so risky coming out from Elevate. They're looking for a potential. Oh, they get the Rithal here. His immortality does come down, but the Hayabusa gets bursted off of the map. Are they gonna be able to take this? Another kill. Inception does fall, but it's Batiso here is the last man. Do they get the Lord? They get the Lord. So it is going to be a good trade for the side of Elevate here. I thought it was a risky position from Elevate, but that Feather Airstrike completely took the Rithal out of the whole entire fight here.
Clean up on the top side. Besiktas a little overly aggressive, a little overconfident. Even with the advantage of the Lord, not phasing Elevate at all. And now they will have a stalemate. Now being past the 20-minute mark, the respawn timers are going to be massive. So any member that falls, you can pretty much guarantee them out for at least a minute plus. So they are going to have to keep that in mind as we progress through the rest of this game. This is now effectively a 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, 22 minutes. By the time the Lord spawns, it's going to be a 25-minute Lord. This Lord is going to be hefty. But again, it just depends on how both teams are looking to set up. If any of the marksmen or the jungler lives for any of these team fights, the towers are all going to fall. If any of these teams sweep each other, the other team is going to win. And it just depends on how they're looking to set up the team fight, right? For the side of Besiktas, they're looking to cancel the Farsa no matter what. If they have to use a flicker on this Badang, if they have to get the Joy on top of him, they have to cancel the Feather Airstrike. That's number one. Number two, if the Joy can get on the ultimate with the Vengeance on that Beatrix, Besiktas is going to have a great time in these team fights. However, if Elevate gets the Feather Airstrike off, if the Beatrix is completely free from any zoning in these team fights, Elevate is going to win. So both teams, they have the ability to turn these fights if they make the correct micro and macro moves. But Inception here in a very dangerous position. The Kaja has the flicker, so even Tai is in a bad position here.
Yeah, but both junglers have a lot of mobility, so they can go in for the split push plays to try and force a member off of this next Lord that is now spawned in. It's going to be a boil of who can get to the back line or who can find the jungler first. An Exception be the one to engage. Fist crack combo with the Tyrant's Rage. And Tai will find Tiso. Eski taking down Lido. Exception will fall. Fafnir with the cutthroat, with the steel cables. But Eski with the punish. Double trouble, double kill. This Badang is Badanging. Fist crack into Boro. Enzo trying to get away. Chapo with the heavy crossbow will find another member of Elevate. Enzo left to defend all by himself. Besiktas Esports for the punish. Immortality play. Enzo will fall. Tai with the shutdown and a full wipeout. And Besiktas Esports finds their first victory this challenge season and takes us to a game number 4.
This is the Snapdragon Pro Series here. A 2-1 reverse game from the side of Besiktas here. Able to get this victory, 25 minutes. A very, very good match, a tight match coming out from both these teams. But the last set coming out from Inception on this Kufa, a 3-man Tyrant's Revenge, completely clutched up, and the follow-up was even more beautiful. We saw the fish crack multiple times coming out, and I said, this Badang is so good against multiple members. This Prio is so interesting here. It's such an EU Turkey MENA vibe, and the Badang shows its skill once again. Gets a few flickers, crucial sets, and able to close out this match against Elevate. This is the match we've been looking for, Wheezy.
Man, who would have thought the difference would have been the Badang? Now I see it. The picture is painted. Man, what a series. 24 minutes, the longest game we have had so far. Look at the MVP.
Well deserved, right? In the beginning, I was questioning the Badang blind pick. It was something that hasn't really shown its worth, in my opinion, as a dominant blind pick XP laner. We've seen things like the Phoveus blind pick well, or even the Hylos do well, or even the Lucas. But this Badang blind pick was so good here. We saw plenty of options where the Hylos was stuck, the Farsa was stuck, and the Badang was able to get right on top of them. The MVP was well deserved. But however, I think there's other, members from the side of Besiktas that done well. The Joy flex into the mid. They're just not scared of that. The setup coming out from Inception. Yes, the Kaja was able to get picks after picks, counter sets after counter sets, but that last 3-man set themselves up for good here. right? And then there's also Chapo here with the Rithel just on the backside, making sure he stays on alive. He's on a Rithel, so he has the range, has the mobility. He's able to find the response that they're looking for. A tight game coming out from both of these teams, but Besiktas just played that tad bit better.
Yeah, just a beautiful ending to that game as well. I mean, their backs were against the wall, right? That was their elimination match right there. If they would have lost that, they would have been knocked out of the challenge season, and we would have bid farewell until we open the doors next time around. And so you can definitely tell the pressure is rising with that, the intensity and the gameplay alongside it. And just the counter maneuvers to be able to turn that game and steer it around in their favor shows a lot of promising things for the future for Besiktas Esports, specifically for Exception and Eski. Both of them, a great job on initiating and finding the setup at a moment's notice, and that's what made the difference to be able to close this game. And there was the setup we were talking about, the Tyrant's Revenge for the stun, the fist crack coming out as well. But then wait a second, we're not done. We're wrapping around on the side. Fafnir can take that Exception, but hey, we've got a Bedang. Eski rushing back around, and this is that beautiful play where he takes them out and they close it out with the base crystal. Game 4, moments away, and UA, a great series.
You know, it's always interesting to see this Bedang, and I actually got to play it once in my ranked games, I think 2 nights ago. My chat told me support emblem cooldown. All right, support emblem cooldown, and it's pretty much the same exact emblem as this. And they want you to go that magic boots. They want you to go that oracle. But Dong, the greatest strength that he has is his second skill is like on like a 7-second cooldown. So if it's maxed out, it's essentially like a dash. It's like 4 seconds with max cooldown. He has the flicker. He has the oracle sustainability, right? And it's just a very interesting hero that they've developed, alongside with being able to proc the Thunder Belt as much as he can. Every single skill procs his auto attack, and that pretty much just sets the Thunder Belt up for success. You get first skill, that's a proc, and he just keeps going back and forth, back and forth. He just stacks up the whole entire game. And here, the Bedang impact was there. I 100% am convinced Bedang is a great move. I can't say it is the meta, but at least in this region, it is a very impactful hero.
It's funny because how everything comes back full circle. I said in the middle of the draft I was going to ask you, and now UA, I'm going to ask you, did this Bedang perform how you were looking for him to perform?
Yes, however, that was a good draft. That was a good draft for the Bedang. But guys, before we go into that next game, game number 4 between Elevate and Besiktas, we're gonna go on a quick break, and we're gonna be back with some more Snapdragon Pro Series gameplay.
Let's go. Put it in motion. Baby, we're going faster, faster, faster, faster. Seizing the moment. Baby, keep going faster, faster, faster, faster. Speed up, make that thing rev. Foot on the gas till you got nothing left. Let's drive to the top of the mountain and see the view. Let's vibe, looking back on the journey, just me and you. Ain't nobody wanna go slow. Yeah, I was chilling in the past, I was solo. Now that I got you in my life, I'm like, go, go. I be living for the thrill of it, whoa, whoa. I hear you like to gamble. Let's take the road, let's travel. No, I'm a lot to handle, but I wanna go fast with you. Think we can go the distance, although I know we're different. Together we both fit it, so I wanna go fast with you. Put it in motion, baby, we're going faster, faster, faster, faster. Seizing the moment, baby, keep going faster, faster, faster, faster. It's like they never even seen us, and nothing will ever get in between us. I'ma ride by your side every season, and if anyone try to stop us, we just speed up. Yeah, always keep it at 100. Top down, pretty face, so sun-kissed. Know it's scary, but I swear I really love this. Big shades on, summertime in London. I hear you like to to gamble. Let's take the road, let's travel. No, I'm a lot to handle, but I wanna go fast with you. Think we could go the distance, although I know we're different. Together we both fit in, so I wanna go fast with you. Put it in motion, baby, we're going faster, faster, faster, faster. Seize the moment, baby, keep going faster, faster, faster, faster. Put it in motion, baby, we're going faster, faster, faster, faster. Seize the moment, baby, keep going faster, faster, faster, faster. I got the Lambo car, house in the hills with the stars. Told you I'd raise the bar, told you that I'd go far. Oh, what we could have been if you weren't arrogant. Oh, baby, what we could have been. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Baby, it's crystal clear. I'm not a souvenir. I'm not an accessory. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
Welcome back to the Snapdragon Pro Series Challenge Season. My name's Steph Weezy, joined with UA, and let me just tell you, if you guys are just now jumping in, you just missed a bedangin to be able to take game number 3 and remain not only in this series, but in the challenge season. Besiktas Esports 1-2 against Elevate.
Yeah, and you know, this is a tough series, right? This is an elimination for one of these teams. And unfortunately, it's a best of 5, so we're coming close to the end. It is game number 4. So Elevate, they have to win one more, and Besiktas has to win at least this one to get onto that next game. Both very, very tight and very competitive in terms of the game level, especially when the draft is set right. And we could already see Besiktas coming back in this series. Game 1, it just didn't look that good. It was a 14-minute close, one-sided, and they barely got any kills in the very first game. And now game number 2, they were able to find a little bit of momentum early on. Unfortunately, past that 10 minutes, didn't find that response. And game number 3, we bounced into a 25-minute bloodbath. Trades coming in from both sides, draft differences, strategies, all that sort of stuff. Combine it in one game. It was a beautiful performance coming out from both teams, but Besiktas was able to find the close. Game number 4 now, Weezy. What are we looking at? Is there going to be high prio on the Bedang, or are we just going to be looking? I mean, I think the Hayabusa is definitely going to be showing.
The Hayabusa for certain should be walking here. The Hilda yet to be banned out, though. I'm wondering if that's going to be taken off the board first, but to kind of make it a little bit easier for that Hayabusa to traverse across the map. Now, the Bedang, we asked the question, is it worth being banned? Is it meta now? Is it just reshaping the way MLBB scene is being played? And just from the last game, I don't know, man. I'm still... Okay, it's hard to say that I wasn't a fan of that. That was fire. But I still don't know if it'll be effective as just a solidified roamer without having something that can also, like, make up for the crowd control, right? I mean, that wasn't a Bedang... Rome, that was a Bedang XP. You mentioned Diablo. You mentioned him from
on the XP,
right? And you said that was where it worked out. And you know, I was like, well, that was the XP, not the Rome. And now we see Bedang work out again, but in the XP and not the Rome. So is that where we see him more effective?
Well, interesting you brought that up, because in Diablo's case, right, they only picked the Bedang against the Fanny. That's the condition, right? That's the matchup that they're looking for, that extra oomph in their draft. However, these two teams, I feel like they're not scared of picking Bedang. Like it's something that they could really go with, and I think it could be a possible mistake, right? Last match, the Bedang was great against the first 3 picks of Elevate. Great. You can see the impact throughout the whole entire game. The walls that were coming out, the displacements, the stuns, even some of the escapes. You can see the Badang shine quite a bit, but this time around it's not there. However, Granger is available. It's a Granger, it's a Joy. There's even the Matilda is all. Oh my. It is not the Granger or the Joy. The Hayabusa, which had 100% win rate in this series, gets picked up first. This does open up the Granger for Elevate. This is hard.
Not just the Granger, the Matilda as well. And then, I mean, they're not worried about picking up the Phoveus either. I think that may be one of the things that Elevate goes in for against BJK. I feel like just too much prio on the Hayabusa this early on, right? I feel like you could afford to lose the Hayabusa in this type of situation. There goes the Matilda, there goes the Granger, and there goes an advantage that BJK is going to have to work against with Elevate.
You know, remember in game number 3, I was like, I feel like Elevate is going to explode off of this draft. They're going to go for that aggressive dominance, asserting dominance. And BJK here going out with that strategy, I think it's quite smart. Yes, it might be too early, but 100% Hayabusa win rates in the series means the Hayabusa is a very high pick priority coming out from both teams. Denying it away from Elevate is a strategy itself. So they blind pick the Hayabusa. They have the Joy available, but I don't think it's going to be coming out so early. They need to find a way to deal with the Matilda. And in game number 1, they did not have a response. I love this Arithel pick. I think this was smart because Arithel, they won with Arithel in the last match and they can win lane against the Granger, but the Joy comes out. C shaking her head. It's hard for me because Elevate has already dealt with the Joy mid with the Valentina Matilda matchup. I'm almost certain they're going to be coming out with that again.
I'm about to just say, why Yaya? Why Yaya? On this Joy, but you're gonna see the Valentina picked up from the other side. Honestly, I thought that Yaya would have been the one to pick up the Valentina, just to have a little bit of insurance, because you know with this Matilda, we may be seeing a little bit of crowd control, possibly sneaking to the scene or something that the Valentina could profit on. But with this Valentina picked up for Elevate, I guess it does kind of work in the favor for Besiktas Esports, because technically right now they don't have anything that the Valentina can profit on, and they can continue to ride that wave. Now, this Phoveus was not picked up, which means it's a great chance for Besiktas Esports to go ahead and just ban that out entirely and not even have to worry about it. And this is different than what we've seen in the first game of this series when the Matilda was first picked on the blue side from Elevate, right? We saw them prio the carry. We saw them prio the Phoveus. This time the carry is not here. It is going to be this Granger. Now, the carry, I would say mid to late game, if you didn't have to worry about the mobility, would be a way better tank shredder than the Granger is, right? But they go in for the Granger instead to deny Besiktas Esports the gold lane prio when it comes to the longevity of the game from early to late. So I think right now I'm liking the way the draft is going. Yeah, the million-dollar question to me is just the amount of focus and prio that Besiktas is putting on this Joy, when I feel like there's just other options that could be just as effective or even more effective to the team as a whole when it comes to these team fights. But it just showed sometimes I feel like comfort picks outshine meta in traditional compositions, and it seems to be something that Ayaya favorites.
Yeah, but this puts Elevate in a very interesting position. Why the junglers are going to get banned out. This time Hayabusa and Joy are on the table, Suyo and Alpha. So this does leave open a sneaky Fredrin that was banned out in game number 1. Not sure if the side of Elevate is looking to go for that. They have enough damage to support it. And they are lacking CC quite a bit. They could look to pick up the Fredrin. I'm not sure if that's what they want to do. However, BJK is in a pretty decent position. However, they pick up this Kufra, which I actually think the Kufra matchup against the Matilda is like a 60-40, maybe even 65-35. Kufra wins on this because the bouncing ball can stop the dash coming out from Matilda, can leave the Matilda in place. And even the trades in the beginning, Kufra has a little bit of sustain to deal with the Matilda poke. So the Kufra is going to have a decent time. However, this Gata, we saw it in game number 1. The impact didn't feel like it was there. I do want to see how the side of BJK lines their skill stacking right? Tyrant's Revenge into the AOG. Are they going to be able to get a combination that they're looking for? Or is it going to fall short due to the amount of utility and mobility that the Matilda and the Valentine is going to offer?
Ooh, and you asked the question about the Fredrin, but instead they're going to raise a Julian in its place. Now, the Julian, I would say it's a little versatile, a little bit more versatile than the Fredrin, because you can fight from afar, you can fight from up close, and you're just a little, no, I wouldn't say, probably mobility may be a little bit the same. So it's interesting to see the Julian here. I feel like it can still work. I feel like I personally was a little bit more of a fan of the Fredrin, but you do have the enhanced chain, so you do have a knock-up with the Julian as well, which could be a threat that Besiktas Esports needs to watch out for. Speaking of watching out for things, UA, we are now jumping into game number 4. Elevate up against Besiktas Esports. It's 2-1. Elevate able to find the turnaround, their first victory so far in this challenge season. How you feeling about the draft? Do you think they can have a possibility at taking us to a game number 5?
You know, I always want a good series. That's just clear. I like to root for the underdogs because I like a spicy match. And a spicy match we most definitely are heading into with our game number 4 between Besiktas Esports and Elevate. Is Elevate going to secure their chance of moving on in the Group B, or is Besiktas going to come back and even out the playing field?
That's right, as we are in Group B, the elimination match between both of these teams. Whoever falls in this series will be dropped out of the challenge season. And Besiktas has found a lifeline in game number 3, but can they ride that wave? We're seeing the joy picked up from Ayaya again. This is the 4th game in a row that Besiktas Esports has pulled out this joy, but last time around, it did work in their favor.
You know, I think Besiktas is quite happy with the draft, right? They got the joy, they got the winning Kufra, they got the winning Arythal. So they're going to be quite happy, and even they have that 100% winning Hayabusa. However, is that going to be enough to deal with the Matilda that Elevate is so extremely confident with? And I think it comes down to how the junglers are going to be performing. This Julian is something we don't see quite often. With the new Hunter X Hunter skin, he's definitely looking quite stylish though.
Ooh, Fafnir in trouble. I'm gonna wait a second. Oh. He takes down Ty, but the knock-up, the rush in. Ayaya finding Fafnir as a response back. That is gonna be both junglers falling off the board in the first minute of this game.
Yeah, bloodthirsty coming out from both of these teams here. You want to call it a mistake, you want to call it outplay, whatever you want to call it. It's a trade coming out from both of these teams here. Boro slowing the recall back coming out from this Kufra means that Elevate should have the priority over this next objective. And when you compare the utilities of both junglers, of course the fighter with the iframe like Julian is going to have a much better time in controlling these early game objectives.
Yeah, with that turtle on Elevate's side, they will find the first objective of this game. Now, Ty running on this Hayabusa, I mean, he's highly mobile. He did a lot better in game number 3 on the engagements for the neutral objectives. Game number 1 and 2 was a little bit of a struggle, but I feel like game number 3, he was just a little bit better on finding those retries for the team. So if he can keep that rhythm going, I feel like BJK can have a little bit of a better chance when it comes to these neutral objective plays.
Yeah, but what I'm scared of is, you know, Besiktas going on an assassin in the jungle is not really meant to go for objectives. They're meant to go for kills. And is Ty going to be able to find, you know, responses on the opposite side of the map? Can he find kills? That's going to be what determines the success here.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to be keeping a close eye on. Ayaya will find Enzo 2-1 on the scoreboard for Besiktas Esports, and that is going to be 2 kills for Ayaya on his Comfort Joy.
Yep. Yeah, and you know, we talked about it. Is this going to be the game that Elevate puts the stop into Besiktas, or is Besiktas going to even it out? And you can already see the advantage is coming out early. We talk about this joy in the mid lane coming in too early, but Ayaya he seems to be super happy with being able to pick him up over and over. It's to the point where he doesn't even mind a blind pick. I said, yes, Valentina has the 2 dashes to be able to defend against the Joy, but it seems like Aya doesn't care about that matchup. He can find the dive early on, and as long as he gets to the marksman in the late game, he's quite happy, no problem here.
Both sides trying to test the waters and wait for somebody to make a mistake, but we're not seeing that this early in the game. We're seeing a little bit more of a tighter knitted fight between both of these teams and how close they're playing. And speaking of playing, now the engagement on the way for the second turtle of this game. Lord Eski able to get that steal with the Gatot last second for Besiktas Esports, and now the turtles are even. But speaking of even, Lido making the difference, finding Esco, which means they will find the kill to respond back, though. Tiso is going to find exception. So 2 kills on the side of Elevate and a turtle as well.
Besiktas, I believe the AOG actually was able to pick up the turtle. So Besiktas gets that objective themselves. It's 1 for 1 for turtle. However, you could already see the Matilda, the impact on the shields, the utilities, the movement speed, right? The circling eagle, everything. You know, he was able to just defend against some of the damage that Besiktas was looking to deal with. And this Matilda is going to be quite good against the Hayabusa as well. The shield is going to provide so much utilities. You can see the sustain is already there. So how is Besiktas going to be able to deny the utilities coming out from Matilda? Where Elevate, Boro, I would say one of his best hero is Matilda. So it's an uphill battle. However, there's still some momentum coming out from Besiktas. They're not scared to look for some of these fights, and the gold lead is just so close.
Sky's Piercer picked up from Tiso as well, so now it's going to have the lethality. So if Besiktas Esports gets low enough, it will have that quick execute and stack. So they are going to want to have to keep an eye on the damage and how low they are when it comes to these engagements. Elevate fighting as a unit close together, but now the Time's Revenge for the setup does not go in for the rage. Both sides dishing some damage, but neither will find a member falling.
For Pops, the Purify coming Enzo here. That's a good find. However, not the target that they're looking for, right? They really want to get Tiso or even Lido, but mainly Tiso here.
And Boro, Quad Shadow coming out with the Ouija Shadow kill, stacks alongside Tiso and Enzo to share the damage, and we'll recall back to safety. Turtle spawned in. So far, it's 1-1. We got to see Avatar the Guardian play from Eski to get the steal against Elevate to even up these objectives. But now, with the junglers in position, we may see a possible 50-50. You have the Quad Shadow from Ty, though. He is in the mid lane. He is going to go back in for it. A good contest though, from Elevate. Chapo taking some hits, dealing some damage, almost finds Tiso, forced to go back to safety, but Chapo may have overextended, and Fafner will find blood. Eski finding Boro. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Fafner need to get out of there, use the enhanced sword to go back to safety. Lido, though, needs to be careful as well. The taunt, too much to handle, and a Yaya with electrifying beats will shut him down. Kills working in Besiktas Esports' favor.
Yeah, some micro mechanic coming out from Besiktas. Not only do they get 2 kills in trade for 1, they're actually able to grab up the top tower too. So, you know, Besiktas actually came up on this, you know, this skirmish here, and they're looking to put even more pressure. This is interesting. You normally don't see a mage going up to the XP or the opposite lane to solo a lane and get some gold. Yeah, he doesn't mind because he is a Joy. He has the ability to dash and the mobility to get away, and now Elevate sets up for the objective.
Fafner able to get the turtle for Elevate, and now maybe able to get a kill as well as Eski caught in the middle of the full team and quickly bursted down by Tiso.
Yeah, 5-man siege, a powerhouse move coming out from Elevate. This is something that we see quite, right? And is that they love to group up as this Death Ball 5 and move around the whole entire map, go for the objectives. And it's just due to the fact that they have the fighter in the jungle. They're looking to 50-50, get every single one of these fights. versus Besiktas, they have an assassin in the jungle. Assassins typically look for kills, typically look for a 2 versus 1 situation, or even a 1 versus 1 pick off onto the back line. So both teams looking to play into their strengths. Elevate here is just a little bit up though. The Granger picks off onto the bot side, gets one uncontested.
Yeah, an exception will fall alongside him like dominoes. A little bit of an overextension for Chapo. He tried to get the push on the bot side, but didn't realize Enzo was wrapping around to sandwich him in. Yaya maybe next tries to go in for the play into the back line with the electrifying beef, but quickly taking a lot of damage and forced back to the turret.
Yeah, no bueno coming out from the side of BJK here, doing a little bit more that they should, right? Number one, Chapo should not really be getting caught off guard on far side, especially with not much CC coming out from the side of Elf Flicker. You should be able to get away with no problem here. But the Shadow Cone coming out from the mid side.
Yeah, a lot of damage, but stacking up together, it's not really going to phase Elevate. And Ty just having a hard time finding this pickoffs, yet to get a kill this entire game, and we're almost at the 10-minute mark. Not really typical from what you see on an early game assassin like the Hayabusa. On the plus side though for Elevate, they've got Tiso now up 3 kills in the gold lane, and he's just off to a really good start. Chapo having a hard time, 2 deaths in.
Yeah, and you know, Chapo is going to be the late game reason if Besiktas is going to win or not, right? Arythel, hard to catch, high damage, does well against, you know, a strafing Granger, and has the mobility to be able to, you know, just run around. At the same time though, Elevate has the sustain and the mobility of the Matilda. They have also 2 Purifies to bait out an Inception compared to last game. So it feels like Elevate just has a lot more utility to be able to deal with the damage coming out from Besiktas.
A little bit of a premature Ouija Shadow kill. Fafnir will be able to take the Lord for Elevate, and now disengaging with the Guiding Winds. Yeah, this is a similar to game number 1 and 2, where Ty is just not able to find the positioning needed to get these objectives. But speaking of objectives, may be able to find a trade, a kill, an Avatar the Guardian for the knockup, but Eski taking a lot of hits. Enzo will be the one to deal the final touches, and he will fall.
Yeah, a lot of utility coming out from Elevate. You can already tell there's not much damage that's able to kind of last hit some of the members from Elevate. And the shield is just going to get more and more messy, right? Matilda is just going to get more and more cooldowns. He's going to be up to about 30 to 40%, especially with the book Enchanted Talisman to be able to complete here. So he's going to have that second skill pretty much on cooldown, added with the utilities coming out from that Julian. It's going to be a lot of trouble for the side of BJK.
Big Tyrant's Revenge and a Tyrant's Rage onto the wall, but a little premature. Nobody there to really deal the damage from that amazing assist from Exception. Tiso able to find Eski and Exception side by side. 2 kills for Tiso. Now a 5-0-3 KDA.
Yeah, Elevate is able to take out both of the frontline tanky units from the side of BJK here. A little bit of a response coming out from Ayaya. But again, the Matilda. Boro is just in a great position anywhere they go for the AOG zone. A little bit of an overkill, but objective secured for the side of Elevate.
Yeah, and Elevate now in control of this game, which was once tug of war. It's just one side pulling and the other side just giving them everything they want. Besiktas Esports need to be careful, right? They have a moment to be able to tie up this series, and they were off to a great start. It's not too far out of the ballpark, but a couple more stakes can be costly.
Yeah, side of BJK looking for some response. Number 1, they need to use the Hayabusa as what he's supposed to be, which is a backline pickoff, which is, you know, picking off some of the squishy units. Yes, it's going to be hard to deal with the Matilda's shield, but it's not impossible. Matilda is still a very squishy unit. If they could burst the Matilda out, that would be an ideal situation, right? That's number 1. Can they get onto the Granger? That is number 2. But I think most importantly, number 3, they have to set this Arythel up for success. It could be the Kufra. It could be the Katot. They just need to make sure that this Arythel is, you know, well peeled, and they're doing a great job here, right? Putting both the tanky units out in the front to make sure Chapo is going to be rotating around safely. However, Elevate, once again, they have a lot that's available, and Ty getting chunked at the mid side.
Yeah, taking a lot of hits. Needing to be careful. He's having a hard time finding the back line. I mean, Tiso is deathless so far in this entire game, and he's going to be the one dealing a lot of the damage that makes the difference in these skirmishes. And without Tiso falling and rotating around with the team, Elevate easily able to take another objective on their side, and now Tiso's going to be even more of a threat. He just picked up the Wind of Nature.
Yeah, this is game 1, game 2 all over again for Tisa here. Already at the MVP caliber performance in this series, looking to get another one underneath his belt. And it's well deserved, right, Weezy? He's played a perfect game so far. 5-0-3, highest kill for his team. 8 out of 10 kills. This man smells so much trouble, and he's on such a mobile hero like Ranger. Then that's not even including the guiding winds coming out from Matilda. He's going to be quite happy, especially with the amount of dashes, the amount of mobility coming out. He's just a happy camper. BJK have to be able to find Tiso in order to get this win. The Lord coming down 14 minutes. This is going to be trouble.
Elevate knocking on the door at Besiktas Esports base, and it has been kicked wide open. The Lord intact, now going to the base Crystal, and the full 5-man team of Elevate behind it. Lord quickly bursts it down. Ouija Shadow kill, and the quad shadow in, but not going to be able to find the kill Ty was looking for, forced to back out. And Elevate, do they pull their punches here? I mean, they still have minions. They're going to go in for the inhibitor play on the bot side, but is this the right decision? The respawn timers are climbing, but it's not going to stop them from the siege. Opportunity. First revenge, Tyrant's Rage, the whiff from Exception, and now the punish from Lido. Tiso will be the one to take him out, and Fafner will take down Chapo to follow. 2 members down from Besiktas Esports. Besiktas need to be careful, or they may be knocked out of this challenge season. Elevate rising to the occasion. Winter Crown play. Trying to get away from the Ouija Shadow kill. Not going to be able to find it. Ty back to the base, but rushes back in with the quad shadow on the base. Crystal will be bursted down. Elevate will push on forward, taking down BJK, knocking him out of the challenge season, and moves on in Group B.
Yeah, nice try from the side of BJK. Ending the series with a 3-1 for the side of Elevate. And, you know, Elevate played a great series overall. It really does feel like they fall into their strengths by picking, by drafting these heroes, these matchups that they've had so much success with, right? Tiso played a perfect game once again. 3 perfect games here, all leading to victories. You could tell how much impact this guy has for the side of Elevate to lead their team into success. And also Enzo and Boro, 2 great supporting casters, especially at that mid and roam position, leading in rotations, leading in terms of zoning coverage. Elevate played a great series, and it's, you know, just so nice that they are able to end this series here.
You know, there's 2 rules that should almost be universal in the Land of Dawn. And those rules are ban Mathilda and drink water. All right? Ban the Mathilda at all costs, because when you don't, you see what happens. And Boro really able to keep the team alive through a lot of those engagements, even though he didn't get the MVP. I feel like it's something you can't overlook. And a great series, one of the most entertaining ones we have seen so far in the challenge season, and we're still getting started, right? We're still in Group B, but Elevate with the 3-1 performance will knock down Besiktas.
Yeah, and you know, it's a great draft coming out from Elevate. They're able to use this Matilda. However, I still feel like Matilda has some weakness. It's not like you pick Matilda and it's a win, right? It's never like that. We've seen Matilda lose from time to time. We've seen Matilda lose early game. We've seen Matilda do well in the late game. It just depends on how these teams are trying to look for that counter matchup. There's so many great heroes that Matilda does not do good with. For example, Khalid is a bad matchup. You could also go something like the Matilda versus an Angela or even an Estes, which we haven't seen quite often here. There's great counters against Matilda. However, it doesn't seem like the side of BJK was able to find that out today. They had a great series. They had moments of greatness. Even in game number 4, there was opportunity for them to set themselves up for some win. unfortunately, with some whiffs, and they just fell a little bit short here.
Yeah, fell a little bit short, but we did see some moments where it looked like they were the one in control of the game, and I felt like if this was a best of 7, we could have seen them possibly turn it around, but they ran out of time. And speaking of time, a man who had all the time on his side didn't die at all the entire game again. Tayso in the gold lane.
Yep. And this is the same guy that did get the Savage against Incendio. So Tayso is definitely somebody we have to watch out for in this region. He's performed so efficiently in every single one of these matches. He played a perfect game, 0 deaths, unbelievable, right? And he's literally, showing up and just playing perfectly in all these matches. It's definitely somebody Elevates can lean on, just like we can on this.
Can always lean on the casters and always lean on Wheezy for the callbacks. Matilda Airline just sent Elevate into safety and sent, unfortunately, BJK back home and out of the challenge season. Now, Matilda, drink water and ban Matilda. But you mentioned a great point before, like during practice, you wanted to see the Khalid. And you mentioned how great the Khalid is against Matilda. How come it is today that we haven't seen the Khalid?
It's interesting. I think BJK has brought up a lot of good matchup Matilda. However, didn't work out. And maybe if they tried the Khalid, I think it could be a little bit different, right, Weezy?
Yeah, it could definitely be a little bit different, and honestly, it would have been a treat to see the Khalid. I felt like UA was pitching it the whole time, trying to get the Khalid to come out, and I would have been a fan of it as well, because I do think it's a good counter. And hopefully, as we progress through the challenge season, it'll show up.
Yeah, hopefully with tomorrow's matches, it's going to be the upper bracket, and we can see a Khalid. Now, Incendio versus Falcons, and then Elevate versus BJK. Today, Elevate made it into safety for now, but still, they have a long way to go into the challenge season.
A long way to go indeed, but like we said, we're just getting started. We're still in Group B, and we gotta figure out which way this ends.
The Incendio versus matchup, like, this is tough. It's a tough series out from both these teams, both representing, their region as, essentially the top of the class, right? So it's a tight match. And then we also got Papara versus Birthright. That's also coming out, I believe, tomorrow. So yeah, definitely tough.
Yeah, tomorrow, Papaya Supermasters versus Birthright in the top half, Incendio Supremacy versus Team Falcons in the bottom half. Now, for tomorrow, I'm sensing a little bit of a lead coming in from the MENA representatives. It is the hero for MENA, so, hoping to see that tomorrow.
I'm hoping to see it as well, and definitely another treat in store. I mean, today was full of surprises. This entire challenge season has been insane, and make sure you guys stay on top of it. If you missed anything, check out the social media for the Snapdragon Pro Series at ESL Mobile, at Instagram, X, and also Facebook as well, for all the flashy highlight plays, for UA preaching to us on how the Badang is badonging in the land of Dawn as well.
Yeah, make sure to join us on Discord, and maybe we get a clip of UA, Badang Badon. Yeah, so that is going to be Snapdragon Pro Series. So make sure to follow in on all our latest socials.
Yeah, definitely catch us tomorrow for day number 4. It's going to be another exciting series. We've seen a lot of close matches, so definitely be expecting a lot more tomorrow.
Yeah, especially tomorrow is going to be the upper bracket finalists, and you will get to see some of your favorite teams as well as the champs for their respective regions. So a lot to look forward for tomorrow. Any closing thought coming from our casters? I heard a lot of raging during the cast, so it's definitely one of those really exciting series.
Well, as soon as I stepped into the challenge season, one of the big differences from M6 was the Bedang, and I wasn't sold on it. But after today, there's some signs of life. So hopefully tomorrow we get to see a little bit more of that and the Khalid, as you always mentioned. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to be signing off, and we hope to see you guys later.
You really got no words, nothing left to say, but to say that we're going to be Badane Badon out of the series, and we'll see you right here tomorrow.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming and DHL.
Looks like the players are ready. Here we go!